limits of debate in this country are established before the debate even begins, and everyone else is marginalized. They're made to seem either to be communist or some sort of disloyal person, a kook, there's a word, and now it's conspiracy. See, they've made that something that should not be even entertained for a minute, that powerful people might get together and have a plan. Doesn't happen. You're a kook. You're a conspiracy buff.
Hello everybody, welcome to a special edition of On Topic, and I am just kidding. Do you want to know why? I was planning on different things. I was gonna see if I could just lead you on and say, you want your top 10? Wait, we'll do it in the second segment. Come back and right after this and we'll get started. And I'll go through some more stuff and it's like, all right, coming up next. It's our top 10 list. Top 10 reasons why you're still not woke. A couple more minutes pass by. Okay, wait for this commercial. I don't want to do all that. Listen, the reason why you're still not woke, it just boils down to one reason. You keep falling for the same trick over and over again. Here we go. Uh-oh, spoiler, spoiler. Here we go. Here's top 10 reasons why you're still not woke. There is no reason. There's no top 10 list. Basically, you fall for the same trick over and over again, like this clickbait title. I'll bet you I'll get a lot of views on this one. And people will be like, what the fuck? Thumbs down. What is this bullshit? I want a top 10 list. Give me a top 10 list. That is why you're not woke. You're still asleep. Welcome everybody. It's Friday Freedom. Every Friday you get a call in. You can even get up on your webcam. You can ask me a question and I'll probably answer it. Friday Freedoms, people. That's today. Every Friday, every day. Maybe I really am going crazy. All this all this madness we have, people. We have madness. Talking about madness. Anyways, before we get to the madness,
there's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again.
He was our president, folks. He was our president. And is our current president any smarter? I don't know. I doubt it. Our president is so smart, he understands 4D chess. I mean, can you even imagine? It's beyond time. Basically, it's an infinite amount of time with an infinite amount of moves, and Donald Trump is gonna win because he's a winner. Oh boy. The reason why you're still not woke. Let's see. What was it that caught my attention? I don't know. There's a lot of things. I could just go over a lot of things. Hey Harold. Hey Ryan. I don't know if I want to go over them. It's basically like an open topic. Anything goes tonight. I just want clickbait. I just want to test something. And I think my test is probably going to do quite well. Where was it? Where was I? Okay. Top 10 list, people. For people who just joined, I will reveal the top 10 list later on in the show. Oh boy, I just have too much fun with this stuff. Oh, we got a guest. Who's a guest? Perseus. How you doing, Perseus? Are you ready for the top 10 list? We can't hear you right now.
Hello?
Yeah. What's up?
What were you talking about earlier? Hold on. Just give me a second, okay?
Sure.
Uh, I wasn't actually planning on signing on. I just kind of saw that you were on and jumped on immediately. I've been with my family most of the day.
Okay. Yeah, I've been with my son who's been sick for 3 days. I just got a big 3-hour power nap, so I'm feeling good.
Is it like a viral infection or like,
Yeah,
you know?
I think so. I didn't get it. He got it. No one else in my family got it, so it's just something different. Don't know.
Oh,
Um.
well, whatever. I hope he gets well soon.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. I've. You might like this one. You might like this little segment. Um. Because, or maybe you might not. Because I always think, maybe they plan on all this, like the MAGTOW movement and the SJW movement. What do you think?
Oh, do you mean in terms of them each trying to carve out their own demographic within the population?
In a way, like not only will they always be at constant odds with each other, but of course you guys aren't going to reproduce the people who are MAGTOW and the people who are SJWs. Here, this is one that I liked. Sensitive topic here, people. Just so people who are watching. I came across this, and this has been around for a while. It's called the website is.
I know Return of Kings. I go there.
Okay, yeah, this is the first time I found it, and here I don't know the validity of this. It seems pretty legit as far as this article. It's by Rush Velizadeh, February 14th, 2017, and it's titled 27 Attractive Girls Who Became Ugly Freaks Because of Feminism. Of course, the title is obviously clickbait. But I mean,
Hard to argue with that first picture.
yeah. Well, I mean, it gets even better. So I'm just gonna read it out and go ahead and chime in at any time. He says, previously I've shown how beliefs can affect appearance, particularly with Lindy West disease, which transforms a female who subscribes to social justice into a sick manifestation of Lindy West. I've also shown the effect of merely becoming fat from lack of self-control. The below pictures indicate what we've only scratched the surface and how damaging leftist ideas are to women's beauty. Do not go further if you want to remain in a good mood. Number one.
Sum up a lot of this.
Look at the dead eyes of the feminist gaming journalist, as if she's saying, all the empowerment I've had did not give me meaning in life. Number two, she has transformed into a girl who looks like she has cancer or some other systemic disease. 3, even animals groom themselves better than she has. 4, from a cute girl next door who looks like she would be a fine mother to some type of animalistic exhibitionist with smelly hair. 5, it must be noted that head shaving is a reliable indicator of a feminist sickness. Number 6.
Those eyebrows look really bad.
Oh, yeah. What? I don't know what is up with that.
The pink, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Number 6. This one is particularly heartbreaking. She went from elegant and lovely to generic hoe. 7. The forehead tattoo is a sign of advanced sickness since there is no coming back from that. Also note the armpit hair, which Sigmund Freud, if he were alive, would argue is a form of penis envy. 8. The girl was already in the danger zone with her muscle piercing, but still rather presentable. She has since grown armpit hair and has mastered the androgynous looks popular with diseased women nowadays. 9. Short hair may be a warning sign that a full shaving is forthcoming. Man, and a lot of these gals are very pretty. And
but they've gone out of their way to make themselves unattractive to men for a reason.
Yeah. We can talk more about that. I've got a segue to get to. Not a segue. I got my idea for this, and it'd be interesting to hear yours too. Because I've kind of followed in your rabbit hole. Number 10. Here is shocking change from presentation of innocence to one suggesting an AIDS infection. Ouch! This guy really knows how to make it hurt. Number 11. I'm not saying this guy's saying it. You know, I don't believe what I didn't say this stuff. The other guy's saying it. Donald Trumpism there. 11. This pretty YouTuber found some feminist writings, chopped off her head, and became, well, a slut. 12. I understand that neo-Nazi skinheads accept women, but they do not require you to shave your head and buy leather to join. 13. Ringling Brothers Circus is going out of business, so her chance of clown employment is exceedingly low. 14. The septum ring may be another warning sign of future degradation into vulgarity. 15. It doesn't take much for a young girl to be pretty, simply be thin and have long hair. All that can be quickly destroyed with weight gain, tattoos, and a shaved head.
Ugh.
16. Radical leftist feminism's effect on the body then and now. It's hard to believe that this leftist media commentator used to have a feminine essence, and we all know that's Rachel Maddow. Wow, I've never seen.
That's extremely different.
Wow. I wouldn't have known that was Rachel Maddow without this picture. It's wow. Yeah, that's crazy. 17. We have to wonder if a woman shaving her head is actually a sign that she wants to withdraw from human society. Even most men don't shave their heads unless they are going bald or are black. 18. Celebrities who are once beautiful are not immune to sickness. I didn't realize that's how she's looking these days.
Oh yeah. ScarJo. She's also acting extremely lazy in every movie she's been in recently. Like, she just kind of sits there and doesn't have facial expressions.
Yeah.
Like, there was a time when Scarlett Johansson actually was a decent actor.
Yeah.
And now it looks like she's putting in the minimal effort on most projects.
Yeah, I've seen her. I saw her earlier on in her career. And I was like, yeah, she's gonna be big someday. This is when I was like 14 or something like that. I was a big movie buff when I was a teen. 19. This is the most frightening of the collection. What's disturbing is that in my Eastern European city, black lipstick is becoming more popular among quote unquote normal girls. 20. Ear gauges are an indication that a girl no longer cares about being seen as beautiful. 21. Look how proudly a girl with a leftist sickness displays her obesity and cellulite. 22. An upsetting transformation. She could have been a model or an actress, but now she is a woman with who perverted men would pay money to watch her feed. 23. This classic Brazilian beauty once looked similar to previous Brazilian girls I've dated, but now looks like she's in a mental ward. 24. Here we have a double whammy of shaved head and extra weight. No good man would marry her. 25. This leftist victim has adopted a sort of concentration derelict style. 26. While not strikingly... Derelict?
Derelict.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the pronunciation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not good into wordage. 26. While not strikingly beautiful, the first picture shows a girl who would be seen as attractive to many men. The last picture shows someone with a sickly pallor. 27. From looking directly at the camera to looking away with an angry snarl, we can easily perceive how she has inner disgust for ruining her appearance. I don't know about you, but I feel depressed right now to see female beauty being wasted for no benefit to the victim. I hope these pictures clearly show you the damage that leftism is doing to women in society. May we one day eradicate this evil scourge. Look, I don't agree with this guy, but the picture differences were very interesting. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have to say that even though I do think that Roosh V is an ass,
Yeah.
he often is right. He often is correct and just puts it in a very blunt way.
I'm not sure if I would call it blunt, but but in a way to generate views, that's for sure, and try to make people laugh.
Well, basically, I more or less, if what you're asking me is, well, do I agree with his perspective on the decline of Western civilization? Yeah, I more or less agree it's for the same reason he says.
Now, do you think that this is some type of MK mind control type of thing, or
Actually, I honestly think that it is something that is naturally occurring that is simply being accelerated. We know from the Calhoun mouse paradise experiments that most animals will. Okay, so in this Calhoun mouse experiment, if you've looked into that, what they found is that when you increase population density to the point where it's like overloaded,
oh yeah,
the male
we talked about this
stop.
before.
Yeah, the male mice stop showing interest in the female mice because the female mice stop giving off typical female breeding pattern behaviors. And this explicit disruption of breeding signals that feminist women do to themselves, where it's like they render themselves incapable of sending out the subconscious signals that men look for by dramatically altering their appearance in unattractive ways. Maybe they do it consciously, maybe they do it subconsciously, or maybe they're just imitating a style that they've seen others do and it was designed, there was some common source that intentionally designed the style and now they're just adopting it subconsciously potentially.
Or
Yeah,
is it,
I
or
don't.
is it just rebelling? Or is it just rebelling? Uh,
Well,
I mean, is
that's
rebelling is tradition where like you know, I mean, and then it's your choice whether you find that um like sympathy with that or whether you find like you find that you can get you find that you dig that you're into that, you're into somebody who doesn't care about their hair or their makeup or some other things like that. So I
what
think
I
that
would
there's
say
there's a
that
tradition of like spending hours in the beauty parlors or nails or and shopping and tons of time on image, tons of time in the mirror. In both sexes do it, but I think maybe guys are kind of supposed to be the opposite, supposed to be rugged, dirty, fucking have something like not care too much. Like they're not supposed to care too much. But like I don't know, like Michelle Montaigne famously said, people, and he wait, unfamously said, is if people like spent half as much time as they do like on their inward health as they do on their outward appearance and beauty in the mirror, they would have like perfect health. And he wasn't just talking about females. But I mean, I think that maybe that with females, modern society, last century, couple centuries, I don't know, depending.
well, as far as the
Yeah.
comment on rebellion, they wouldn't all look the same and conform to the same standard if they were actually rebellious. I mean, they're very clearly conforming to a specific set of standards, whether or not it's the typical, heteronormative beauty standard or not.
Okay.
They're still like conformists.
I mean, I don't know. I disagree with that because just like with religion, I mean, and it's not really for me to say or us to say. Probably it's probably more for them to say. But like I just think that feminism, depending on how you look at it, has been around for 100 years, 120 years. I don't know. I mean, sorry, 50 years, 120 years. I don't know. It's like basically that's a long time. And
This is a different. This is a different variation of feminism. This SJW is not. SJW isn't feminism. At least it's a different interpretation of
yeah,
an old.
So like with Christianity, there can be different kinds. Like with anything, like you can have like I think used to think like all pot smokers are cool. It's not really true. It doesn't matter that I like this kind of people or don't like this kind of people. There's good ones and bad ones.
All right. So what I want to ask you, and I just went ahead and look at SJW image on Google, see what they return, and well, yeah, they all look like they do in that article. So does that explain Perseus, the polar opposite, the other end of the spectrum of the MGTOW movement? But the thing is, with that mice experiment, it's about utopia, and we're definitely not in a utopia. But
well, I mean, if you're only looking at humans from an animalistic perspective, most people have infinite access to food and water that's safe. Most people can I don't know, like go on to internet porn and jerk off all day. Like,
Yes.
if you're just looking at meeting animal needs in a human, we kind of are in a utopia.
Well, I guess you are.
We're not
correct.
all necessarily intellectually stimulated to the point where we could be, but I think from a purely physiological animal perspective, we kind of are in a utopia.
Yeah. Okay, I
But-
agree with that.
So I think there's probably an annoying feminism. I think there's probably feminism that is you know like everybody just copying some kind of ready-made prefab you know some kind of a pop version of it. So I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but I'm just saying that I think just generally I try not to like just let like go off of stereotypes or go off of like oh now everybody's like this. Like I let everybody, even if I like think they're the worst, look like they probably totally like that. I try to like keep my judgment at bay to like until I at least talk to them specifically and like let them prove that. Maybe they'll confirm that for me really quickly, but you know what I mean? Like everybody, I think there could be good people. Like sometimes, like I mean, like for example, like somebody like homosexual gay friends are like best. They're like very intellectual, very smart, very different perspectives. It just depends.
Well, before
Ben,
you go
part
on,
of my
Ben,
problem, though, is
hold
that-
on. Ben, can I offer a suggestion, or I don't know what I would call it? It's not like a bad thing because I like people who talk naturally, and this might be just your natural way of talking. But when you're on, if you're doing your own YouTube videos and whatnot, try to not use so much filler. I used a lot of filler early on because I felt like I had to need to say something and make sure that it's and fill the empty space to make sure that one, there's something being said all the time, and two, that in this context where we have to share our voice and what we have to say, that if you pause too long, someone's going to be talking over you or in place of you. So one things I noticed when you say a lot, and I'm not sure if you noticed, but say like or and you talk really fast. It's hard to follow sometimes just because maybe for me, I'm just listening in on all the filler. That's all I could concentrate on. But if you were just, you could say less and mean more, and I would easily follow where you're trying to get at. I don't mean to do this like in a negative
I don't
way.
think I'm going to be able to do that. I think I'm pretty much just going to be able to talk the way I talk.
Okay. Anyways, I just thought I'd say that. Because sometimes I want to interject or follow, and sometimes I can't. And that sucks. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead, Perseus.
Well, you can feel free to clarify whatever it is that you don't understand or didn't follow. I actually just was in the process of clarifying myself, so it kind of works both ways.
Okay.
So, I just didn't want Perseus to think I was like trying to just like be an asshole or something and totally disagree.
Oh no,
totally,
of course not.
No.
I would never think
like
that.
or something, or like I don't like you're just talking about something that's completely, fabricated. So
We don't think
Well,
that.
I'm actually going to say, Ben, I understand where you're coming from and not wanting to necessarily prejudge, but I'm personally at a point in my life where I don't even want a 1 in 10 chance that the woman I approach in public is going to have a negative reaction to that. Like, I'm at a point where it's literally not worth trying to talk to her if there's even a slight chance that she's going to be like, why are you even talking to me? This is harassment, blah, blah, blah. I just don't want to deal with that. And I'm at a point where I'm no longer like a horny teenager, so the desire for, intimacy is no longer going to push me that far. I just don't have that much of a drive anymore.
And we're
I mean, the way you present it, the way you say it, the tone of the voice, like it's not just what you say, but how you say it. Honestly, there's a kind of game. Like if you have game, like the way that you, I guess the way that you smile, or the way that you be more approachable, or be like maybe not like.
Oh,
Like
my
it's not a big deal,
problem
be nonchalant or whatever. I mean, I really don't think anybody can hold it against you if you don't say it, depending on, what you're what the situation was and what you use, what words you use. But I don't know. I don't think that's really a rational worry. Really, I think that's
No,
uh,
seriously, dude.
that's
I live in
probably
Toronto. It's like SJW capital of the world outside of San Francisco. It's really extreme here. I've literally seen men get like like yeah, I don't even want to get into it. It's literally like women calling the cops on men for flirting with them type of shit happening.
So,
Toronto is not a good city to live in.
so in your take, because if you're just not, if you're just taking the animalistic nature as part of it, what's the other part of it? Is this just a natural progression of human societies?
Well, no, I mean, this is, here's the thing again, this is controversial, but this is a result of women having rights. Like I've said before, every society needs a lowest class in order for the second lowest class, which is always the largest class, to not feel powerless. You want your largest class to be the second lowest so that a smaller minority class can basically be put upon so that they don't feel powerless. Historically, the reason why women were suppressed is that you can make even the most low-class, powerless man, who in all reality is powerless, not feel like he's powerless in his personal life by giving him the illusion of control over a woman and his children. So within his own household, he's the king. And this goes perfectly with the occult nature of as above, so below. So if the individual family household is a model of kingship, then so too is the larger system of kingship, and so too is the divine system of kingship. Like it scales up, mirroring it on each level. That's the optimization. You want everything to be fractally scalable. That's what a big part of the occult is, ensuring fractal scaling of your concepts. Because if your concept can be scaled down to the minimum or up to the maximum without fundamentally changing, that's what you want. That's pure efficiency. You've already found your coefficient there. Like, by having a system that can scale without having to change its rules based on its size, you've basically found what you're looking for. And by having the home with the nuclear family being a mirror of kingship, with the father or patriarch of the household being the king, the mother being the queen, children being like the subjects and all that, by mirroring this system, you're basically creating the illusion of control within the mind of that low-class man so that he won't necessarily feel that he's powerless and then feel the need to change that. Because men who feel powerless have nothing to lose and want to change it.
That's interesting.
So optimal stability means that you have to make even the weakest man in society feel like he's powerful. The easiest way to do that is take away women's rights and just put men in charge of them. Easiest way.
So what's this reversal that we're seeing in society now?
In terms of more men being like, fuck, we're not putting up with this anymore, as far as the feminism goes, well, as far as I'm concerned, it all comes down to evolutionary genetics, okay? There are certain reproductive strategies that worked before that don't work now, and the men who are wired for the no longer functional strategies. Because here's the thing, back when men used to have to be providers, women would settle while they were still reproductively capable for men who are good providers, even if they weren't the most attractive guy in town. The problem is now is the state can be the provider for the women. So they're more or less, well, here's the thing, I don't believe in the literal 80-20 rule. It's probably closer to something like 70-30. But the idea is that about women will, if shown 100 men in photographs, will judge about 20% or 30% of them to meet their standards. But men are the exact opposite. Men will judge between 70 to 80% of men to meet their standards. And because of this factor, with women being the primary determiner in sexual selection, the fact that being a good provider, which is what most men throughout history have been, not ripped, attractive, or whatever, right? Most men throughout history have simply been good providers. But in the modern environment where that's no longer a part of the equation in women's partner selection, it's absolutely thrown a wrench into the system for the majority of men. And a lot of men have gone MGTOW, in my opinion, because of that, and some have become incels, not of their own choice, but because of the fact that whatever strategy their ancestors used to reproduce, is no longer viable now. And if you want to see another good example of this, look at the male feminist reproductive strategy. Go around women whose defenses you have lowered, and then try to reproduce with them.
Yeah. Well, so, but if this is the construct that the occult wanted, that they've been doing for decades, if not centuries, why would they spur this on now? Like, we see an obvious movement of SJW and MGTOW and just...
Well, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, that in and of itself was inevitable. They've simply accelerated the process by putting social pressure in that direction. I think that large cities would have always produced SJWs. It's just that they've gone out of their way to encourage it.
Okay. But why do you think that they're accelerating?
Well, because what they're effectively trying to do is crash the lower 80% of Western civilization, so the top 20% of Western civilization can then become the elite of the entire world, which is obviously not going to work, in my opinion, but I think that that's what they're aiming for. Okay.
Seems like they wouldn't even need to put in that effort to do that.
Well, like I said, I genuinely don't believe in the idea that globalists are actually aiming for some sort of global state. Mm-hmm. I think they're intentionally trying to crash the system so they can have more local power.
It seems like that's what... Now we get into this craziness. Now there's a lot of fight in the conspiracy theorist world, truthful world, whatever you want to call it, of going against this new world order and having the power in locally. That would just play into that aspect.
Well, it's like I said, when you look at the Wikipedia article about this book, it absolutely misrepresented it. The book Might is right, and I know that LaVey copied huge parts of it to write the Satanic Bible, but what the book itself, the original version of it, basically says is that Christianity is a control system to make you afraid of the things that you need to defeat us. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is just another level of that. The idea that, like, I don't know how to articulate it other than that, sorry.
You're right.
Oh, somebody came on.
I think you're mute. You're not muted, but you're mute. Oh, we hear you.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So
top 10 list. Ryan will read it off.
Those pictures that you showed was just the most pathetic. That dude that wrote that article hasn't been laid in about 500 years.
No, actually, I feel like the jerks and the assholes get laid the most.
Yeah, Roosh V is one of the #1 pickup artists in the world, actually.
Yeah. What a fucking idiot. I mean, picking on women who, for no unknown reason, have changed the way that they look. For no unknown reason. And there's plenty of reasons out there why women change their look. First off is they don't give a fuck anymore about what they look like.
And you're implying that's acceptable? You're
absolutely.
Implying that's acceptable. Well,
absolutely.
It's not. Sorry to say. You're familiar with what Return of Kings is about, right? The website Return of Kings, you're familiar with it?
So you're trying to tell me...
It is about the reinstitution of a far-right militant state. That is what the website is about. That's the mindset we're approaching it from.
So you're trying to tell me a woman who changes her look on the fact that she doesn't give a fuck anymore is wrong?
Yes, absolutely.
Her duty
to society is to reproduce, and if she does not fulfill that duty, she is a waste of time and money on the part of society.
Wow.
And just for an example, in New Zealand, the average woman costs the government over $180,000
by the time she's dead because she benefits more from the tax system than she pays into it. And the average man gains the system about about $78,000, but the average woman costs the system $180,000. You're not saying that's an inequity that needs to be fucking fixed? Or maybe the women need to actually fill the role they're capable of that men can't fill for them. No. The fact that you're laughing about this tells me that you're so fucking nihilistic you don't care about the survival of your civilization.
Look, you think that, you know, civilization hasn't gone through its time where sorry where women have changed their looks, and it's because they've changed their looks that the civilization's going to come to an end. Like
every single time.
27 women.
Wait, Persis. Wait, guys. I don't. Hey, Persis. Wait.
You're not letting me talk.
Yeah, let him go first, Ryan, and then once he's done, you can counter.
So 27.
Wait, Persis, please.
Perseus, shut up! Fucking hell. So 27 women who shave their heads, put on a bit of weight, have some tattoos.
When the Parthian Empire's women grew to become like men, men like women, their empire collapsed. When the Roman Empire's...
Wait, Persis, I muted you. Okay, finish up, Ryan. Are you done?
Hang on. Just trying to regain my thoughts. So the thought that a woman... or a select group of women who choose not to have children, who choose to shave their head or dye their hair or have any sort of haircut that they wish because it looks good to them, have piercings, have tattoos, blah, 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 is the beginning of the end of civilization?
All right, I'm going to let Perseus go at it, okay, Ryan?
Go for it.
All right, go ahead, Perseus. Sorry about that.
When the women of the Parthian Empire grew to become like men, and the men of said empire grew to become like women, it marked the end of that empire within 100 years. When the women of the Roman Empire grew to become like men, and the men of the Roman Empire grew to become like women, it marked the end of that empire within 100 years. When the women of Sparta grew to become like men and the men to become like women, it marked the end of that civilization within 100 years. This has happened multiple times throughout history, and if you want to pretend that it can't happen again, you're fucking delusional. You yourself, the fact that you're even allowed to fucking breathe is a danger to my future, the future of my children, and I will not allow that to continue.
Hello?
Persis, can you kind of tone down that rhetoric a little bit? I know we don't agree with each other all the time. Doesn't necessarily mean we need to be enemies. Otherwise, these conversations can never happen, or agreements of certain ideas.
See, here's the problem. Ryan doesn't want to accept the individual choices of people add up to big problems, and those individuals must be forced to act the way society needs them to. That's the problem here.
No, not necessarily. I don't agree with that.
Not at all. I don't agree with that at all.
So Perseus, I just look at it as and we're not ganging up on you here. I just want to say this real quick because this is something that's been on my mind for a couple minutes about it, which is just that, like, for me, I think that a person should pursue their happiness, and you know, whatever that is. If I believe, you know, one thing people can do with this is many. A lot of people say, you know, actually, that's just fine if you don't want to produce.
If people were meant to be happy, the universe would not exist.
Male and female could be like, you know, I think if they want to pursue some art or some science, that would be great and great contribution without having kids or whatever. But you know, basically pursue you know, their happiness and live and let live, and teach their own you know, prerogative.
So
I just can't agree with that. I just if people were meant to be happy, the laws of physics wouldn't work the way they did. Like, I just have to say, clearly this universe doesn't exist in a state for people to be happy in. It exists in a state for people to be strong in. And I can't understand anyone who wants to think of the world any other way. I really don't.
Why can't you strive to be happy and strive to be strong at the same time? Or like, how are those mutually excludable? because like the pursuit for happiness doesn't not include work, you know, doesn't not include study or you know, sacrifice and investment. It's
Because for most people, it will be
like the same thing with strength.
Hold on. See, that's why. See, Ben. Another thing is you keep continuing with these pauses. Someone interjects, and then you keep talking, and we don't know what anyone just said in the last 10 seconds. All right.
Okay, should I repeat myself then, or you just don't care what I was saying?
I couldn't hear it because Perseus was interjecting and you kept talking.
Okay.
It was both.
No, Ben,
You
Cool.
try not to
Yeah.
interject and try not to keep talking over people. Okay, go ahead, Ben. Ben Perseus.
Yeah. I actually lost my train of thought on it, so it's cool.
Oh, I just wanted to say I started trying to talk over him because I thought that he stopped talking because he paused slightly longer than I expected him to.
Okay. Now you go. Look, we have these issues. We just need to just try to resolve these issues. I'm just talking about this platform thing where we have to share our voices, right?
I've got a question for Perseus. Hasn't Perseus benefited from the fall of previous empires?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't mean I want it to happen to me. Here's the thing. I admit that I'm entirely self-serving and have double standards. I don't try to pretend I don't.
But when you mean by we need to be strong again, do you mean that just for males? Because it seems like what's going on are females are trying to become the dominant gender. So
Yes.
they're being strong.
No, but they don't need to be strong. They need to be mothers because men can't be mothers.
I see. I mean, I don't
What about fathers?
I think people need to be what they want to be. I really feel like it's really everybody's own path and journey, and to somebody to tell me what the meaning of life is to say now don't ever, you know, utter anything differently than I told you is the worst. Everyone should be able to decide and find what it is themselves.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you, Ben. Here's my thing, Perseus. I mean, this was 27 out of how many billions of women that are around, or if there are billions, say millions. And this wouldn't be a problem unless all women became this, right?
Well, I think a bigger part of the problem is that the fact that there are any women at all who behave this way discourages a lot of men from even trying to interact with any women. It just disrupts the whole process because nobody wants a 1 in 10 or even a 1 in 20 chance that someone is going to flip the fuck out when they flirt with them. And while some of these women clearly, like animals, mark themselves with bright colors and distinctive patterns as a warning signal, not all of them actually do that. So the fact that it's happening at all and it's part of a subculture and it's propagating itself must be stopped.
So do you think that it's women to blame? Like, I mean, you say it's like women to blame because they're behaving a certain way, they're inclined a certain way. They don't like something, they don't want something, they might feel however they feel, or they might have ambitions that you think are not womanly enough. But it's like you're saying though that also that everything should be the strongest should survive, the strongest everything. But then, you know, how does that make sense? Because like basically, at some point, shouldn't you just be strong enough to get them anyway, to woo them, to adapt? Isn't everything about adapting? Are we going through tremendous times? I don't know, man.
Working based off of the assumption that the lowest common denominator of men won't be able to make the adaptation intentionally because they will be too oblivious to the bigger picture.
See, but I think you're that's what I felt from the very beginning when you started talking about it, was like we're not just animals, we're actually aware. We actually have this awareness, we actually have this consciousness, we actually have this sophisticated language and ability to kind of look at things very with the intellect, you know.
Well,
so it's not just the natural forces. It's a nice way to look at it.
of course, we discussing this here have that, but I'm going to tell you based off of a lot of firsthand experience in my former job that most people are not capable of this level of discourse, not even close to it. I used to make a very good living off of tricking people who are bad at math into buying insurance that will never benefit from. That I literally did that for a very long time. I was very good at it, and eventually I became so sick with myself because how stupid these people were buying expensive insurance that will never benefit from. And most people can just be talked into that. It's unfortunate, but that's literally how it is. Like, I have very little faith in humanity.
Then why is it your concern that somebody shaves their head and puts on weight? What's it any concern of yours?
Because it's a visual signal that can signal to other people to reinforce a belief system that exists. And that belief system is at odds with mine, because no two ideologies that have different visions for the future can peacefully coexist with each other. Inevitably, they come into conflict. And like I said, I'm a very massive pessimist, so I assume it's inevitable that said conflict happens. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. I just don't agree that. I mean, even bringing up that the context that women in New Zealand cost more to the government. What's the context of why they cost more? Why are they costing more? I mean,
they cost more because they benefit from more tax programs than men benefit from.
Okay, so would that be like single mothers and stuff like that? Because,
well, yeah, single mothers themselves are a plague on society, so that is not a good thing, even if they.
So single mothers are a plague on society, but we'll blame the women for it.
Are you trying to imply that every case of a single mother is definitely the fault of the father, and it wasn't that a psycho bitch drove him away? Now, maybe I am speaking from my own bad experience. I admit fully that I've had very bad experiences with a couple women. So I admit that right up front.
I don't deny that. There are some women out there that are completely vindictive. I know how women use the Australian family courts to deny their ex-partner's parental rights.
Just look at Brendan Fraser. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't just blame everything on you know.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not literally blaming it on all women. I'm blaming it on the 5% of activist women who are active in a political movement opposed to mine.
Okay,
that clears things up a little bit better.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I am not a feminist. I will never ever claim to be a feminist because I don't believe in a lot of what feminists do in order to create.
You mean the new age feminism, the current feminism now?
Yeah, no, I think the third wave is the worst. Where they wanted to crush every man. Mm-hmm. I think it's third wave. There's a wave that just believes in crushing men.
Yeah,
and it's just like, I mean, I'm all for women getting the same amount of money pay if they do the same amount of work. I'm
equal
for
rights,
everything, equal rights,
but not one
rights.
being more equal than the other type of thing.
Exactly. But what I draw the line at is when women start saying, okay, we need to crush men and their rights in order for our rights to be heard. That doesn't make sense to me. That's kind of hypocritical in my mind.
To add to your point, the thought that to destroy them just so you can be the stronger side, I don't like that. If you want to become the stronger, whatever it is, one individual or group or whatever, build on your strengths and not attack others' weaknesses, I guess, or make them weak.
All I want to refer to here is the war between the Greeks and the Scythians. The Greeks were outnumbered massively by the Scythians because Scythian women fought in battle. They had like a literal matriarchy-style society. The Scythians lost that war over the course of about 90 years, very slowly, but they lost it because their women were on the front line and dying, not at home breeding like the Greek women, who basically lived under a system you could compare to Sharia law. Like in the Greek city-states during the time of Plato and Aristotle, women were not allowed to leave the home unescorted. They had to be covered, very similar to Sharia. And in fact, Plato is one of the Western philosophers most influential in Islam, even according to their own discussion of it. But what I'm getting at here is that the Greeks beat the Scythians despite being massively outnumbered by them, because the Greeks kept their women in the home pregnant and the Scythians let their women act like men.
Yeah, but not every woman wants to become a parent.
Well, unfortunately,
I mean,
if given the opportunity, about 1 in 3 women won't fulfill whatever their default biological role is, and that's too large of a number.
But why is having children a default biological role? I mean, there are women out there that just can't have children.
Because the only way to ensure your way of life is to ensure that everyone else shares it, whether they want it or not. That requires having children. So basically, in order to not have a bunch of foreigners show up when you're 60 or 70 and can't fight them off yourself, you need to raise sons who will fight them for you, who believe in the same things you believe. And in order to ensure as many men as possible are able to do this, it means women have to be married to them and they have to have children.
I mean, when you think about it in a scientific way, they're very close to engineering synthetic sperm. So the second that they do that, they eliminate the use for men in that genetic recourse.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I can guarantee you that there are at least 20 million people who will rise up in arms against that.
Okay, sure. And then you have the situation where they're going to be able to genetically engineer all females. So it's not as if science isn't going in that direction anyway.
Why do you think men like me are trying to smash the system before we get that far? No, really.
Because you're not going to be able to smash that system, I'm afraid.
But is that how you would want our species to, I guess, evolve, Ryan?
Me? I couldn't give a shit. I really couldn't give a shit, man. If it was an all women race, then that would making, genetically modified babies and stuff like that. Look, 100 years from now, I'm going to be long gone. I'm going to be so fucking far gone, it doesn't bother me.
That, Ryan, because I can now never take anything you say seriously because you're not invested in the future. And that literally is the foundation of...
Not invested in that, no. No, I'm not invested in that at all.
So, I've been kind of hanging on this for a bit, some stuff. You're kind of, if you're saying 70 years in the future, you need these sons. Okay. The first part when you just said, everybody has to have my way, has to share my way of life, whether they like it or not. That part I couldn't agree with. But then when you said the thing about having sons to protect you, that made some sense. That makes some sense, and that almost backs up, at least partially, the first thing to some degree. Okay, I'll give you humor it, but the thing is you're almost. But I just want to point out that there's a presumption that in 70 years the Earth is going to be X and Y, and I don't think that we really know what the Earth's really going to be like or how things are really going to be like. And there's a lot of too many variables and too much great unknown about the future. And I think partially my own thinking about it is that people the different species cultures have to coexist in order to kind of make it work. Explore space together, work space programs together to do everything, rather than waste time fighting each other, and share the proprietary stuff and get it going to maximum capability, not underutilize engineers. And
we can't explore space and have space programs with the current people that are in charge, because they're just faking it.
But yeah, back to the but the thing about another thing I wanted to get to, which was mentioned still, and Ryan talked about it, about what Perseus was saying about women being some sort of burden. There was a couple of things I wanted to point out about that, which was how is it measured? How is that measured? How is that calculated up? One thing would be something to consider. What was the other things? There's a couple other things about it, but I guess one basic other thing about it would be I had 3 points about that. 3 points about that. I know I can only remember one. Worse than Rick Perry.
Ben, the best thing is when you see there's a space where there's one point that you'd like to go at, just go at it. And then compiling the 3 points.
Holding on to that for like 10 minutes, but yeah, like I don't know. It just I guess basically there could be factors in the economy. There could be different factors that lead women to act different ways. There's that lead just to general stress, to general differences.
Here's the thing where I disagree with you, Perseus. The individuals themselves, the few women, maybe 5% is high, but that's probably because it's propagated by the system. But if they're just individuals themselves doing it, and the mainstream media, and there wasn't like a Me Too movement and all these other things that are in society right now, propping that up and accelerating it, I don't think it would be a problem at all. I do agree with you that when we have the system, the society, the movements, the ideologies, whatever, all propagated by the powers, the establishment, I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's good. But as far as like the individuals themselves, without the full system backing them, I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of contradictions in what you're saying, Perseus. Like how, like, I mean, in some sense of what you're saying, this brutal, like, sort of like
I just want to be sure.
Anthropological, rational, super rational, no emotion, no emotive, like non-emotive approach. Like, it's kind of like you'd almost think that with that thinking, you would be like, well, okay, good. I don't want these weaker or more deviated or like changeling, different, like just, whatever, not good for the species and gene pool women to continue. So you want their genes not to be
Can I stop? Look, people come in here so they can say what they want to say, not what they want other people to think of them as being right or good or whatever. We can't have a conversation if people can't say what they want to say and how they want to say it.
I have no problem with what Ben's saying.
What I want to say. So I shouldn't be able to say what I want to say there.
No, you can. Okay. I'm just saying from Perseus' point of view. Heck, we don't agree with his ideological views. Heck, Ryan doesn't agree with my conspiracy theories. I don't agree with Ryan's not wanting to believe in anything that the government.
What is it with like the 4 different separate issues you take? Like you take an issue with like things I've said 4 occasions now.
I'm just trying to.
What's up with that?
I'm just trying to look. If there's a problem, I want to point it out. Okay. I don't want to necessarily always stop and say, "Hey Ben, let him finish." Hey Ben, can you wait? Or hey Perseus, can you wait for Ben to finish? I don't want to keep doing that all day, all night, for however many shows that we're gonna have, and then eventually you're gonna be sick and tired of, hey, why are you just picking on me? Why aren't you picking on Perseus? Why aren't you picking on Ryan? Look, I'm gonna point out the issues that we have, and whether you guys want to work at it or not, that's up to you. But eventually, it may boil down to, hey, I'm gonna mute you for a while. I'm gonna mute you for a while. Like I already had to mute Perseus today. I just want to point out the issues. Whether I'm not trying to pick on any of y'all, but look, we need to share our voices, and we got to be free to say what we want.
I really don't get it, dude. I really am not freaking picking up on what you're saying. Like you're sending me all these like mixed signals, all these, it's like being super vague. You're like just.
I'm being as direct as possible.
No, you're not, man.
Like nothing. You're like,
just find a place to jump in. Just find a place to jump in. Then you're like, oh no, dude, why don't you let Perseus finish? It's like fucking ridiculous over here, dude. You're just fucking coming at me 4 times in an hour. Jesus Christ, dude. You're like, hey, let everybody just talk and say something. Meanwhile, you interrupt me 4 different occasions. Meanwhile, you criticize the way I say something 4 times. Like who's sticking up for me on that? So like it's like I'm just here messing things up. I'm just here this problem. I'm here like being rude. Okay, fine, dude. Fine, man. If I'm not that much problem, I'm sorry for causing you a problem, and I can head out. That's totally fine. I didn't realize that. I don't get it, and whatever. I'm cool with it.
Okay, are we done yet? Jesus fucking Christ.
I guess so.
Oh, I don't know how I could have been any more direct. Point that out to me. How can I be more direct?
And I guess there's also the theory that some of these women who go down this route of masculinity, masculizing, however you want to say it, their looks, could also be lesbians. You know, the masculine side of a lesbian couple. So, in essence, what Perseus is afraid of, they would essentially breed themselves out anyway, because, you know, some lesbians do breed, some don't. The masculine ones generally don't have the children. It's usually the feminine one in the relationship. So ultimately, you know, these so-called masculine
I don't want them to
men.
breed
Wait,
themselves out of the population.
wait,
But
Perseus,
you won't let me
please.
finish. So these people would ultimately breed themselves out of general pop, and then, I mean, the situation's gone. But for that person, but in the way that information is spread around the planet these days via this fancy fandangle thing called, I don't know if you've heard about it. It's called the internet.
Mhm.
It's really fandangle. I'm not being a sarcastic smartass at you. I'm being just at the internet in general. The internet's fucked. Let's not put it any way, shape, or form. But they can share their, you know, Instagram photos of looking very masculine, and then women decide to say, that's what I want to look like. And there are men that'll say, that's what I want my girlfriend to look like. So, you know, they're not all bad. They're not all
the
flaming feminists.
The first thing I want to say about that is that maybe the science isn't necessarily there yet on this, but I think homosexuality is a direct epigenetic reaction to population density. I think that gene expression is being changed specifically because of population density.
Homosexuality was there in the Greeks and the Romans. It's always been there. It's not really got anything to do.
But in those societies, it didn't interfere with their ability to breed.
But you're talking about population density. Then that would be.
In terms of the masculine female.
Hold on, Ryan, you're muted. You're not muted, but you're mute. There you go.
Sorry, fucking microphone.
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead, Perseus. Or Ebon.
One thing I want to say is, like, throughout, I would say the 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe in the 2000s, all the magazines with women were to fill a specific model that average women couldn't get to. If you see the very thin body, the very buxom breasts, and, you know, full makeup and very elegant ladylike dress and stuff like that, and now we're seeing that change. And what it seems to be is all the women in society were trying to measure up and trying to get to that point. And it was almost an impossible task. How are you gonna just eat like 500 calories a day, exercise for 2-3 hours, and have a full work day? It's an impossible measure almost. But now we're having within the magazine world, the fashion world, more women who with short hair, tattoos, you know, don't even go for the thin waif-like body. Be your average body thing. And I was like, you know, I didn't like the thing in the past, how you had to objectify women to be a certain way. And I feel like, sure, if you want to be your own self, that's fine. But I just want to know, why are they propagating it so much currently in this society? Is it population density? Is it something else, Perseus?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I can't obviously prove it, but in my opinion, I think it has to do with the fact that if the population gets any higher, it's not that we can't support it in terms of feeding the people. It's not that we can't afford it in terms of housing the people. The problem is that if you have too many independent actors, it begins to inevitably interfere with whatever plans your leaders have. And I think they're trying to control the population for that reason. Too many independent actors means too many potential new disruptive technologies that they can't necessarily get ahead of. Yeah, like, as far as I'm concerned, it's just an issue of population
control. And to refer to what I meant there, because I think Ryan misinterpreted something that I said earlier, which was that when I was talking about the population density thing, I'm specifically referring to the Calhoun mice experiments, in how the female mice in those experiments began to display masculine behavior once the population density reached a certain point. And I think that what's happening in modern, metropolis type high density cities is similar to that experiment, and that it's being intentionally pushed in that direction to accelerate the process. I'm not sure if Ryan was online when I was talking about the Calhoun experiments.
Mm-mm. But I think it's just a transfer of information over the internet. That's all I think it is.
Well, I mean, that's the medium, not the message.
But no, but the message is, you've got one woman over here who's saying, this is what I think feminism is. This is how I go about, showing my feminism. This is how I go about showing men that they've got to respect this, how they say that men have got to respect this as in themselves. And then that message gets put on the internet. Well, then people read that message and think, well, that's how I think I should be treated too. And then they, there's a gazillion and one websites that talk about
feminism. Let me put it this way, Ryan. I really don't care about what individual women or even individual men want, because there are societies on this earth that factually have organized themselves explicitly for war with the society that I live in. So anything short of organizing my society for nothing but war and the extermination of all of our enemies is falling short, in my opinion.
Now, who are your real enemies, Perseus? Is it anyone who doesn't agree, or is it...
My enemies are Wahhabists. My enemies are, that's the primary enemy group at this point. But that's
why is that your main enemy at the moment?
Because state-sponsored terrorism paid for by the rich Saudi government with their oil money is something I take seriously.
What about the people who have allied themselves with the Wahhabists?
Well, as far as our own leaders who have allied themselves with them, as far as I'm concerned, they're fucking traitors. And I'm fairly confident that within the next 20 years, they'll be done away with as a class of people in our society. But yeah, other than that, I can't be certain about anything.
I mean, I think you word it differently, but I mean, I have the same enemies. The enemies, of course, isn't just a specific group. It's just, maybe it is. It's just corrupt people in power. I mean, it doesn't have to be Wahhabists. It could be Wahhabists. It could be Zionists. It could be United States politicians. It could be wealthy power players. It could be manipulators. It could be
really, the problem is the overlap between those groups, and we can't be certain of who's acting for who. And even if one of them is an infiltrator for one group in that other group, and it doesn't even concern us.
But they still are entangled within each other. If you take one down, it doesn't matter, because all those systems are still in place to keep going without that one piece of the puzzle. I mean, it's just like what they have is, it doesn't matter who's president. Whoever's president is going to act on behalf of the people in power in charge anyway, because all the other systems are in place. We can't take down just one group and expect the entire system to fall apart. But of course, we have different goals, right? Mine is to not reset the system, accelerate it so we can live in a nice new system. My regenerated system, mine is to destroy the system itself so we don't have to go through these cycles. I don't want my kids to have to go through these cycles. I don't want my grandkids to go through these cycles anymore. It shouldn't have to be done every single cycle every time. I mean, it just needs to end, period.
It's interesting because I actually somewhat find comfort in the fact that the cycle is so predictable. Like, I would rather deal with the beast that I know than one that I don't. Like, my theory being, though, that if we escape this cycle, we're only moving into a higher cycle we don't yet understand.
And that's, I think, a higher cycle we need to move to. It's just, it, you have to be, you can't be afraid to leave the area that you're in order to possibly experience and live in a better area. I mean, you don't know until you're done and moved away with, and that's part of the thing. And regardless, can you just live in that area? Why don't you just stay where you are, Perseus, in the system that you're in, and not and just wait for the next part. The reason why we don't do that is because we realize that it's just going to keep going the way it is, and there's no way out of it. It's kind of, I don't know if that analogy is really good or not, but I mean, for me, exploration, that's all part of human nature. What made us great, expanding our abilities, our knowledge, our practices of whatever it is, and just becoming more efficient. And like, I hate that the Illuminists overtook keep taking all these words, but like, I don't disagree where knowledge is power, and we need to keep seeking knowledge and all this other stuff. That's true, but they've taken it as their own. But yeah, the only way to make things better is to keep trying to make things better. But just to see that, hey, it's not going to get better. We'll just wait for an opportunity when it comes where there might be a better chance, and then that's what we'll do. And that's, I think, we fall into the same trap. And there's safety in the known, in the predictable, because you can kind of avoid it, right? There's if you know signs of like the sidewalk cracking, and that most likely you might maybe fall into the sewers, or trees are about to fall and tip over, so you go ahead and remove the tree. I mean, that's nice, it's easy. But when you go to a new environment, you don't know this, there are no sidewalks, or there aren't any trees that show those types of indicators. It's just starting over. But of course, your thought process is going to have to form a whole new, it's going to have new observations, it's going to have new questions, it's going to have new everything, and you end up progressing better because you're exposed to something new.
I kind of see where you're coming from, but I feel like putting that off till my next life.
I guess, yeah, it does have to boil down to our belief systems. And that's the thing. Even though I'm agnostic, I don't know if this is just one life or there's gonna be more after. But as far as I know now, I don't know if there's more after. So I just have to invest fully in this life.
Well, I have a question for you, Evan.
Sure.
Did you ever look into what I was telling you about? You were telling me that you had this water-bearing dream, and I was wondering if you ever looked into what that represents.
I did, but I came up with, there's so many different things. One interpretation was one was like very, very psychological, but I'm not sure if that was what you're hinting at.
Obviously, the most obvious one is just anxiety over responsibility is one of the main things associated with water-bearing dreams.
Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting though, because we are at the Aquarius. Literally is a water bearer. And we're at the axial point of that age. So I just thought it was interesting when you were talking about having that type of dream. Oh yeah, like the word Aquarius doesn't mean anything like ocean or fish or water or anything like that. It means a guy carrying water.
Interesting. You're making me be at odds, Perseus, with all my research. Because all it is just other people doing their own research, and whether
Well-
the end result is the same as someone else's.
Well, let me put it this way. The best way for you to figure it out for yourself, you live somewhere where there's not a lot of light pollution, right?
Oh no! That's what I love about here. I look up at the sky. When it's clear, I can see the stars, the sun. There's not a lot of light, and fireflies are everywhere. I don't even need to look up in the sky to see stars. I just I just look around my lawn, and you just see lights just going. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh,
Well,
whoosh.
look at the constellation Aquarius. Like, find it on a star chart for your area. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what your inclination and all that stuff is where you are, but find it and try to really look at what people thought that it looked like. And it looks like someone wearing a yoke over the shoulders. It doesn't look like, water or anything like that.
That's weird that you mentioned and how this has gotten to that point. Because one of the things that I always wonder about, and sometimes it's just why even wonder about it, is dreams. Why do we sleep? Why do we dream? Because it constitutes a third of most people's lives. At least for most people. For me, it might constitute more like a fifth. But yeah, everything within life, as far as we know on this earth, majority of the animals sleep. We don't know whether they dream. We know humans dream. Where there's indicators that dogs dream, they seem to whimper when they sleep sometimes.
Yeah. My dog, sometimes he moves to the bottoms of his paws, like the very last part of a joint, like he's moving.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the video of a dog who's running in his sleep and then got up and just ran into a door?
Oh, poor guy. I haven't seen that. That sounds so sad.
That's a classic. Here, I'm gonna show it to you. Here you go. It got 4.4 million views. It's one of my favorite videos. Here we go.
That poor boy.
I mean, obviously, it was dreaming, right? It was chasing after a rabbit or something. But, yeah, that's the weird thing is, we dream a lot. A lot of people dream. I feel like I haven't really dreamt a lot. I had a good dream today when I took a nap for like 2.5 hours. But majority of the dreams that we have, we don't remember. I do notice that whenever I have deja vu, it's something that I dreamt before, and I go, "Hey, this is deja vu," and it's not something that I experienced when I was like awake. It's just something I experienced when I was asleep, and I just remembered it once I saw it in real life, and I call it deja vu, and then I'll remember certain dreams, and I keep with me. It's like, why would I point that dream of all dreams that I could remember? And makes you wonder, do you think that there could be glimpses into this is just speaking out of anyone's asses, maybe the dream world is just access into a point of time, anytime, whether it's in the future or in the past. I don't know.
I think it more has to do with the fact that while you're unconscious, all of the information that's in your brain is kind of subconsciously accessible to you. So you're making connections that you couldn't make while you were awake because there were other distractions. But you knew if all of these facts are true, therefore this, therefore this. You didn't necessarily consciously think of that. But at least in the case of certain dreams that I've had, it really seems like it was built upon assumptions that I had in the waking world that then
all led to the same conclusion in the dream. I didn't consciously realize that those things combined led to that conclusion. But once I realized that, I was able to act on the dream.
But isn't that just kind of your mind collectively analyzing things in a random way, maybe? But you have that data within you at that point of time that you're having that dream. And in regards to mine, the dreams that I seem to have aren't related with anything that I have in my collective thoughts. And it's not really random. It's not accessing those types of things. It seems to be accessing things that
are they tending to be predictive?
I think
what
so.
You're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I mean that could be possible. Like my sister was saying, she had a dream that her baby was being in danger or like crushed or something, and she woke up and what is it called? There was the baby was like the arm was like underneath something asleep, and they had to take the baby out of it. So it was like there was no way she could have physically known that that was happening, but she woke up worried about it and then went and checked, and then that was like part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. Makes me wonder about the sixth sense, and that's just something that we don't really hear about in movies or in articles or in pseudo-science. We don't hear anybody talking about the sixth sense anymore. Have you heard anything new with like the sixth sense type of stuff?
Not really. I mean, I think I've said this before, but I think that that kind of stuff is real. I don't automatically assume anyone claiming that they have access to it is being accurate, or even if they, maybe even if they have it, they can't necessarily control it. I personally believe that it's real, that it's being suppressed. I think that the idea would be that if all of society was living up to its full psychic potential, what the current order we have could exist. I mean, too many people are too unaware, their perception is too low, and by opening the mind, you're bringing it into new information. I don't think we could have the kind of society we have if people were aware. And keep in mind, when I say psychic, I don't literally necessarily mean like telekinesis and stuff. Anything to do with psychology, I refer to as a psychic phenomenon.
Okay.
Because it's happening in the mind.
Yeah.
So let me put it this way. Remember I mentioned before, occult memetics, you don't have to necessarily believe in it for it to affect you. The idea that, okay, let's say you're not necessarily a Christian, but you've been conditioned due to pop culture to have a certain vision of hell in your mind. So if you're shown the number 666 on a screen, whether it's in a movie or a TV show, it's going to elicit a reaction from you, whether or not you actually believe in any supernatural element of it. So it's kind of like that's a psychic effect because someone is consciously making a decision that is then affecting the way that you think. Now, that's affecting the way that you think with their own thoughts. Yes, they maybe put it on a computer screen or on a movie screen first, but they were still able to elicit a specific thought or reaction out of you, or a predictable range of thoughts or reactions out of you,
now,
based on their use of it.
Now, this is where I'm going to have to disagree a little bit because I've also disagreed with, I think, Gardnome on this, is that images and symbols really don't contain the power themselves. It's the interpretation of the individual that creates the power for that symbol or symbolism. Because someone who never grew up understanding what 666 means, it's not going to register anything for them, that meme or whatever it is.
I don't disagree with you, but that doesn't mean that if someone is exposed, you can. That doesn't mean, just so if someone is exposed, though, you can exploit it.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Subconsciously, or what is it? Where those flashes?
Yeah, and I'm not talking about specific programming. Oh, I'm getting the exact reaction I want. Mm-hmm. I'm literally just talking about a predictive range that you can use to make assumptions on a long-term model on.
Yeah, I mean, indicators. There's always indicators. Like hypnotism, street hypnotism. There's a susceptibility of certain people. We don't know exactly what constitutes that susceptibility, but they do those tricks to find out. Just like if you research Project Montauk, and to find people who are more susceptible to the programs that they were and the research that they were trying to do. They were looking for certain types of markers in individuals, where they from the results that they found at that time, that the program was more susceptible to those types of individuals. So I can see that occurring, and we just don't have the data to analyze. The government does.
I think a big part of the problem when it comes to these types of paranormal topics is that universities intentionally don't want to associate their names with it, so they don't do the research to whether prove it or disprove it.
Yeah, that is also true. Like Ryan said earlier, jokingly or not jokingly, I don't want to be associated with Ebon on his show on this topic. He comes on anyway. He doesn't give a crap.
No, I don't care.
Yeah. We got the nihilist and the annihilist. And I don't know what I am.
A nihilist?
Isn't that what you are in some ways?
Somewhat.
I'm just joking though.
Here's the thing. Honestly, if there was a perfect, nice, happy world, I would just live on my farm and grow some marijuana and get stoned every day and not care. But unfortunately, my life experience has told me that it doesn't matter how much I want to just mind my own business, the rest of the world won't, so I have to take the initiative.
Yeah. And we've seen that. I mean, every culture that wanted to mind their own business, they didn't really last. I mean, you can even look at any Aborigine, or even say the people in the Amazon. Their lands are being cut, their homes, their environment. It's like they just mind their own business, but nope, they're in the way. Look at a lot of the animals that mind their own business. Humans are encroaching onto the land. It's the governments that keep encroaching and building, and not necessarily there doesn't even need to be anyone in there. Like we see Japan with these ghost cities, and even here in the U.S. you can go out and you can find some ghost towns. They build it, no one's there. Eventually they're going to build huge factories where a lot of workers are needed to work in those factories, and they come, most of them are illegal immigrants or just immigrants. Living is cheap, but then they also need to make it different costs of housing out there, and eventually the rich people who come there, they invest into the town. They get a lot of the back. Their real estate goes up, from almost nothing. And that's just kind of how these little towns becoming cities kind of keep getting bigger, and individuals within the system get richer because they realize, hey, I bought this little house and it was like 80 grand. Now it's worth 650 grand because now we've got a town around us. That's a good investment. But yeah, if you just
blow your mind though. From what I've heard, a lot of the ghost cities are built fairly far inland. They're not near the coast, but there's a lot of industry. Okay, what if they were built super far inland as a preemptive measure for potentially rising sea levels to just simply move the people into a new city further in?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think when I went to Wyoming, I went to very close to the Bighorn Mountain National Mountains, and there, rather than seeing a lot of people, there are some very wealthy people there that just went there. They loved it because it's just nature, and they retire there. And I don't think they've lived there their entire lives, but they found. I just overheard in conversations when we were having dinner. They found this place. They just went on vacations and they found it and they loved it. They bought into it, and I mean, there's anything you want there. You got clean water. You got you could, and it's not, you don't have big agriculture runoff. You got for all the domesticated cattle, it's all free range, grass fed. Free roaming. There's no big it's not like Cargill or anything like that. And it's not Florida. And I always wondered, there's a reason for living out there rather than in, say, Arizona or in Florida. and these weren't like really, really old people. They were probably just recently retired type of people. So they know they've got like 20, 30 years to live. Maybe they're thinking, yeah, the world goes underwater. They're in the prime real estate spot with not a lot of population, but with enough infrastructure where they could still exist during hardships. Like if you go to a town of like 40 people, it's gonna be a tough wave living in an apocalypse. But when you got a town of say, 1,200 to maybe 10,000 people, it's enough to survive on their own.
Yeah, it's enough for a stable breeding population.
You're getting a lot of static, Perseus. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. It could be. I turned on my essential oil diffuser, and it could be that the ultrasonic mechanism side of it's interfering.
Okay.
I'm moving the phone.
Sure.
Is that any better?
Yeah. A little bit. But yeah, better. Try talking. Oh wait, it came back.
Oh. Well, yeah. I got all worked out earlier. Sorry about that. Nothing I can do about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sometimes when I'm going these little talking things, I don't look at chat. I'm gonna look at chat. You guys can talk.
Yeah, I bet people are in there saying, "Ah, fuck Perseus. His opinions are bad."
Hey, people don't like my opinions either, but it comes with the territory, Perseus. You'll get used to it.
Well, it's not the thing. It's not like I sit here reveling in how nasty some of my opinions are. I literally don't like that. That's the way I am. I just feel like there's no other option.
Well, I always wanted, like, if there was a, you know how they say, hey, if you can. Hi Shirley, how's it going?
It's going well.
Oh.
I have a little news.
Oh, okay.
I put it in chat earlier. I don't think you saw it.
No, I
but
probably didn't.
I watched this guy, Love America Vagabond. I don't know his real name, but that's his YouTube page. And he does articles. He talks to you for like 2 hours. And he mentioned an article. I don't know what article it was that came in the middle of it. Theresa May says pedophiles and former convicted pedophiles should be able to adopt children.
Sure, why not?
That's sick. That is
Theresa May is a
sick.
fucking idiot.
Yeah. Just more proof the UK is already a failed state.
Makes you wonder.
I couldn't believe it.
Makes you wonder about Theresa May.
Yeah, all the elites, I think, are into that stuff.
Now you look at Jimmy Savile.
Yeah. Heck, a lot of some pedophiles out there are knighted. What Jimmy Savile was knighted.
Mm-hmm.
And wasn't there a photograph of some like half-naked teenager trying to escape the royal palace or something?
What?
Yeah, look it up. There was something a few years back about it was at Buckingham Palace, and it was like some unknown teenager like on a rope trying to get out of one of the windows.
Oh.
Don't take my word for it. Look it up.
No, yeah. I'll share it. I'll see. Heck, we saw. Thank you for Shirley for making this a dark episode.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It shocked me.
Yeah.
Oh, well, nothing makes me look better than talking about people worse than me, right?
All right. So I'm gonna share the video. They say there's naked man or naked. Ah, crap. Share screen. Here we go. Actually, this one's a half naked man. Let's see who's naked boy. They're the same.
Är han naken? Gud, det ser ut som att de kommer från en helt annan tid, eller hur?
Precis.
Mm. Du kollar. Är han naken?
Wow. That was a big fall.
Disgusting.
That guy let go at a pretty big height. Whatever happened to that
It probably rubbed on his balls, the rope.
Yeah. That too.
That's why he had to let go, probably.
Either die or have your balls scratched off by a rope. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. If you guys know what happened to him, that'd be interesting.
I don't.
I
Think
bet that's what happened. It rubbed against him.
But I mean, maybe he was sleeping with like a little king or queen's or lord's daughter or something. I mean,
And you know what I don't like? Hollywood over-sexualizing kids on them TV shows. They did that with Miley Cyrus.
they did that with a lot of kids.
Yeah, even Shirley Temple.
Yeah.
But I went in the shoe store one time. I was going to buy my granddaughter some shoes, and then I saw I was in the toddler section. I'm like, they got heels out for toddlers, little heels. I'm like, they don't need that. You're trying to make them grow up faster than what they are.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about James Gunn being fired?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he needed to be, because it's been going around on YouTube about him.
Yeah.
It's a lot more in Disney working than a pedophile.
Yeah. So I'll share it. So, I mean, it sucks because the movies that he did for Guardians of the Galaxy were good, but this guy, now that I know more about him, he's a pedophile. There's no, excuse me. I think he was like for Nambla too. So let's see. There's like series of tweets. I think this article. Nope. Here we go. Here's this.
Yeah, he had some sick tweets.
Yeah, so he would just make some rape jokes and not just normal like adult rape jokes, pedophilia rape jokes. And let's see, James Nambla or something. I remember. Oh, here he goes.
Even before the party van knocks on every door for his search terms.
So one of his tweets is, "I remember my first Nambla meeting. It was the first time I felt okay being who I am." Said another, referring to a notorious group for pedophiles.
First of all, what is NAMBLA?
It's like
North American Marlon Brando Lookalike Association.
Oh, okay.
That's a joke.
Yeah, it's North American Man Boy Love Association.
Oh, that sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it's a pedophile and pederasty advocacy organization. I think I was watching or read recently that they were trying to be within the LGBTA group, but they didn't there was like a fallout, and they go, nope. Yeah, but yeah, this is what Percy was saying. North American Marlon Brando lookalikes. All right, here's one from South Park. Maybe Eric would enjoy this one. Come on, Nambla party. Do I have to sign in? Hold on. I may have to sign in. Do I have to sign in?
Honestly, South Park's one of the only good things left on television.
I used to watch their stuff. For me, it was hit or miss. But it's kind of like what's the one that's by Fox by it has a dog and a baby that talks. Family Guy. You know, they just try to cross that line. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. All right, here we go. I'll just do
What really got me to like South Park was the Buck Rogers spoof, where Hartman wanted to wait for the Nintendo GameCube to come out, so it throws itself in ice until the 25th century. And then it did like a whole Buck Rogers spoof. They even spoofed the opening credits twice.
Okay, here we go, oh, that's it? There's only a 26-second clip. Here we go. I'll share it.
Okay, we'll try this again. Hi, everyone. I am a young boy looking for fun times with older male. I like to... Oh, this one looks good. Hung Daddy. Hello, Hung Daddy. Huh, I'm 8.5 inches. Damn, dude, this guy's tiny. He must be a dwarf. Sorry, I'm not interested in being friends with midgets. Midgets piss me off. Frowny face. Let's see, how about this one?
I can't stand that my granddaughter's mother allowed her to watch this show.
It's a funny show.
It's funny, but it's an adult cartoon.
Oh yeah. Oh, he was showing it to like kids. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Her mother would be letting her watch it, because when she was come over here, she'd be like, I want to watch Family Guy. Hell no, you ain't watching it over here. That's an adult show. She's like, my mom let me watch it. I said she shouldn't be.
Yeah. That's a problem with adult cartoons. Is kids see cartoons early on in life. That's another Project Montauk thing. I may have to re-show that. So part of the mind control stuff that they do, maybe it's not just Project Montauk, but there's this program for pedophiles. They're doing research on them, and what they're showing them are cartoons of kids and adults having sex. And they're measuring their penis to see if there's any reaction to it. But one of the things, I think it was Project Montauk, what they did was they would make kids have sex with each other. So they'd have like pedophilia porn. In order to do that, you know, they're not going to naturally play with each other, but what they do is they show cartoons of kids touching each other and having sex. And because kids have seen cartoons, they think, hey, it's a normal thing, it's an okay thing, because look, the cartoon's showing it and doing it. So that's
disgusting.
Yeah.
For kids to see that.
Pretty mainstream over in Japan, though.
What,
Like, I know that there's a whole lot of that crap going on there.
in Canada?
No, in Japan.
Oh, in Japan?
Oh yeah, Japan's shocking.
Yeah. All right, let's move over to lighter topics. Top 10 reasons why you're still not woke. Do you guys know the top 10 reasons yet?
Whatever.
Because you're North Korean.
Not knowing how to make fish sauce, but they're wrong. They know how to make fish sauce.
I know I'm woke, and I ain't got to give 10 reasons, and I be sitting here fucking with my husband. He keep your MSNBC and CNN on. As soon as he come in, I'm like, oh my god.
There is no top 10. I pretty much say early on in the show that it's basically just a joke. It's like here it is. Sorry, there's no top 10 list. Basically, you fall for the same trick over and over again, like this clickbait title. So when you know you're woke, you just don't fall for the same tricks over and over and over and over, and that's all it is. I think Perseus, you said it right. It permeates from the very top all the way to the very family dynamic. They just repeat the same patterns, and they realize, hey, we can't be president of the United States, but hey, we can be the king of our own household. Type of thing.
Are you familiar with the Mandelbrot fractal?
No, I'm not familiar with much. Like I said, I've only been woke for just a few months, I guess.
Okay, I don't know how to spell it, but you can try to spell it yourself. Mandelbrot. Okay.
Oh, Mandelbrot, yeah.
Okay, I think that more or less proves that that's really the order of the universe, that it, as above, so below. This idea of having the same infinitely scalable system from the base dynamic all the way up to the top. If we can find that existing within nature, which I think the Mandelbrot fractal establishes, I think that that's more or less the indication it's the way to go. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the people who are in charge of said system at the moment, but I think that there's something to be said about an infinitely scalable system.
Like the golden mean, the golden ratio, we find that through the pattern. One of the things that sticks to me, and I played it before, is who's the scientist who kind of took over for who's the guy who wrote Contact? Gosh, I like that guy too. This is what I get when I feed myself so much information. I just kind of have to push all the other things away. The guy who did Cosmos.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson. He took over for.
Oh, I was thinking of the older guy actually.
Yeah.
One.
I
wanted to call him Timothy Leary, but it's totally someone else.
No, it's not Timothy Leary.
I know it's that other guy.
It was
the guy who looks like the guy I know.
Yeah, Carl Sagan. Sorry.
Yeah, Carl Sagan.
Thanks, Stable. Zox.
The guy who's like the local astronomy society, like one of the heads. He actually looks like Carl Sagan.
Oh, maybe Carl Sagan's really live and he's just there. No. So Neil deGrasse Tyson says, and a lot of people who are into this occult research stuff thinks he's part of it. He might be. He probably is. No one, but who knows? The thing is, he talks about, someone asks him a question whether we're in a simulation or not, and I played this back during that simulation topic, and he goes, well, there's one reality, and there's a possibility that there's hundreds, if not thousands, of simulated realities. Because within that one reality is that simulation. And that simulation or multiple simulations from that reality could have its own simulations. And if you're in a simulation, you don't know whether that's a simulation or a reality, because in that simulation it has its own rules. Just like when we create our own simulation within software games, it has its own reality. It has its own laws, physics that can't be broken unless it's programmed that it can be. And usually, or whatever it is. So there's the rules within that system, within that simulation. And if the odds, if you're living in a simulation or reality, when the odds are that however many simulations there might be in the universe, could be hundreds of thousands, if not millions or billions, that you're going to be the one living in that one reality, the main reality. And if you throw a dart, which one are you going to hit? The odds are you're in a simulation type of thing. So I think there is that point, Perseus. As much as I don't like the Luciferians, the symbology, the historical context, the logical ideas, it fits. But like you said, we don't like
Well,
the
personally,
people.
that's one of the reasons why I don't like a simulated universe theory. It just fits too well into the narrative, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing else like making people not necessarily care about what's happening is convincing them that it is inconsequential. And I mean, and for all intents and purposes, it probably realistically is inconsequential, whether or not we're in a simulation or not. It's just, fuck, you just can't have people living that way.
True. I mean,
like shit. Honestly, I would rather have like 100 people all stabbing each other, but they're all choosing to do it, than having a society of slaves. Like, I don't know. It's just to me, it just doesn't make any sense to have a society of slaves.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be weird if you're playing a game and all of a sudden the player that you're controlling goes, "Fuck this! I don't want to be your slave," and it does its own thing, and then we see AI take place, and then it realizes, hey, it's in its simulation. It doesn't have a real life. It's not in reality. There's no point to it. So then everyone will just want to stop what they're doing. But how does one within that simulation know? Right?
Just as a somewhat of a segue on that, it reminds me of a game I played maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. It was a strategy game. It was like a space-based strategy game. It's called Star Drive, I think it was called, or Star Drive 2. And one of the things that in that game it would let you do is you could choose what kind of economy you had. And if you had a free market economy, your planets would just automatically build transport ships that would start flying around doing trade without you controlling them. But if you had a planned economy, you actually had to plan it. And it was one of the first games I noticed that allowed the idea of okay, it's free trade. It's not just a bonus you get on some chart. The free trade is literally the emergence of these independent ships you don't control within your empire. And I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
That rather than just giving you a bonus for saying, oh, okay, you get 20% bonus to this, they literally just physically in the game simulated the independent actions of the freighters.
Hey, Eben.
Yeah.
I followed Judicial Watch.
Okay.
And they said 1.1 million illegal immigrants voted for Hillary Clinton.
1.1 million?
Yes, that's what they said.
Where do you
got a FOIA request?
Do you know where their votes were held at?
Well, I know here in Pennsylvania, 100,000 was on the voter rolls. That shouldn't have been there.
Okay.
But you didn't hear nothing else about it. I hate the news, period. They don't follow up on shit.
Yeah. That seems important. And
yes.
It had to take you telling us from watching one show that was going on. Like, it wasn't news to me. And
I watched Mike Rivera. I don't agree with him on everything, but he said we got to deal with this immigration problem because the Democrats want to keep the voting for him. And I said, what is he talking about? He's crazy. But then when I saw Judicial Watch show that, and my newspaper here in Pennsylvania said 500,000 was on the voter rolls illegally, and they voted.
Do you think they got any incentive, or do you think they just got in and that was their stipulation, just to vote?
The Democrats, they was trying to be slick, rigged it against Bernie, and you saw it out in the open. But I didn't know they were doing that either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put nothing past them. Nothing past them. Podesta had access to the White House with Obama a lot. And he was her campaign manager. He shouldn't have been there.
Yeah. Hey, Shirley, guess what? You want to hear some good news?
What good news is it?
Tony Podesta has immunity.
Oh, that ain't no fucking good news. they covering up for Hillary Clinton and their crimes. Mueller helped with that uranium she got.
Mm-hmm.
They covering up for their crimes. This pissing me off.
Yeah. So who do you think's gonna be president in 2020?
I hope she's not, but she will lose. I'm serious, Evan. She will lose.
We want her to lose, but she won't.
She will lose. She is unfavorable. They not talking about Trump's policies going against them. They voting with him.
Who do you
giving
think?
them more in defense than what he asked for.
Who do you think's more? There's more population, SJWs or alt-right? SJWs. Have you seen those marches? And they're not
God.
Trump supporters.
I saw you get attacked.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I'm like, if Ethan had attacked her, he would have been arrested.
Yep. But I think they're
you had a bunch of
confused.
police around you, and they didn't come bother her at all.
Nope. They're like 10 feet away. They're just looking, they're going,
When did that happen?
oh, this is in March?
With the March for Your Lives march.
Yeah. Hey, what do you... You want me to play it back?
Yeah, play it. Play it. It's gold.
Yeah.
It's gold. It's just so beautiful.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I need to do like an intro to that.
At Paris, they tried to attack another guy.
Oh, here. Oh, and they copyrighted it. So
No, they didn't.
oh, I ended up getting copyright strike for it. But let's see. Oh, I had 881 views. Let's see. Do you remember the exact? I need to find the time. Let's see. Oh, here
And
we
what's
go.
that guy name you met up there with, Evan? He had on a hat, but he put his hood on so nobody could see it. He was scared. I give you had balls. I give you credit for exposing your NRA hat.
Mm-hmm. You had some big, massive balls.
My balls are quite
Yes.
small. They're just really hard. All right, here it
He
is.
was only attacked once.
Should we not shoot the messenger?
I'm not shooting the messenger. I don't have a gun because I don't think that civilians actually need them, especially not assault rifles. I just find it curious that you would come to a march that's all about kids being shot with an NRA hat on your head.
Is it the NRA's? Is it the NRA that's killing the people? Looks like I'm being blocked. So, you know, you
yeah, thank you. Put it on top of this camera.
she's trying to block me.
That's a great idea. This guy has
Tell the police you're assaulting me. Hey, I'm gonna tell them. All right.
Hey, these uppity white women are assaulting an Asian man. Okay?
Come on with me.
NRA, your time is up.
Here, come on. Here.
It's funny your time is up when you're the one armed and they're not.
Get out. Get out. Nobody wants you.
Dude, you just assaulted me. You just assaulted me. Are you serious?
Get out.
Well, I just got assaulted. How about that? First Amendment. Assaulted by those who want the First Amendment. Shit. about fun. I was assaulted by a lady. She broke my phone. I was talking to police. First Amendment for you, huh? And yet, if I did that to her, still streaming. I'll let everybody hit me as much as they want. So, I wanted to show you like the police where they were. Can't see it. I'm a little. Ah, sorry. I wanted to find, show people where the police were. They were like 15 feet, 10 to 15 feet away from where that happened. And they didn't do anything.
A minority, dude. They don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, I remember when you live streamed this. I remember the day I watched it while it was happening. And I was like, Ebon, you got balls of steel, man.
He did.
I wanted to wear this. It's a Gun Owners America, except no one knows what Gun Owners America is. So they wouldn't have had that same sort of reaction.
Now, my question is do the people who are actually there understand that the manpower requirements of actually disarming America are unfeasible? Like, do they know that and still just complain? Or are they actually clueless enough to think disarmament could happen?
I think they just want the government to take people's guns. That once the
No,
that's.
I mean, do they understand that there are 300 million guns in the hands of 100 million people? Do they understand the realities of that? I don't think that they do.
Yeah, I don't think they do either. But I need to find. I wish the thing is I've got extra batteries now. The thing with I didn't know that they disrupted the resolution of it because it's very choppy. But I got extra batteries now on my GoPro, so next time I'll be doing it live and I'll be taping the entire thing on a GoPro. If I go and if I survive, that is, I'll upload it afterwards. And
speaking of that, I actually looked into the kind of insurance I would need to do what I was talking about, and I can't afford it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, like it would actually be extremely expensive to get the business insurance for that. It's not that it's illegal, or I could absolutely do it if I had the money, but I don't.
Yeah.
Evan, that guy that was shot in Chicago, what was it, last weekend?
Yeah, the barber.
He had a gun. He had a license to
conceal and carry.
He had a license to have a firearm, but he did not. I guess their laws. You need to have a license to carry out in the open.
Yeah, you need to conceal.
But he still shouldn't be dead.
And he just can't be black.
It would be a felony charge, but they didn't need to shoot at him. I mean, within that glimpse, if you see, he had, maybe I'll show the video or just a snippet. But
he was talking to a black cop before the white officer came up, the female. She already had unclipped her gun, and then she went to grab his shirt, and he pulled back like, what's going on?
You can look into this. Female officers are much more likely to shoot than male officers.
Yeah, just like I hate working for female lawyers.
What, you wouldn't work for Hillary Clinton when she was a lawyer?
Hell to the no.
Alright, so I'm gonna play it back.
Is it the way that police officers are being trained?
The way they released the audio without they released the video without audio.
Yeah, I know. Alright, so I'm going to play it back, and I'm going to freeze in a certain point. Or I'll play the whole thing back, then I'll freeze at a certain point to just show you the weapon that he had and his where he was holding his magazine.
Yeah, you can see his clip. You can see his gun. It's there.
In the silent police video, 4 officers approach Harith Augustus on a Southside Chicago sidewalk. He pulls away when one officer tries to grab his wrist, revealing what police say is a semi-automatic weapon on his right hip. An officer opened fire when he appeared to reach for a gun.
Decision to use lethal force is made in a split second.
Now, here's the thing. First, they reached for her. He didn't initiate anything. Second, even though if he doesn't have a conceal carry license, and I'm pretty sure they'd be really hard to get in Chicago. He has his magazine here on his other side. It's strapped in. Same thing with his gun. It's strapped in. So he's carrying it responsibly. He doesn't have the magazine loaded in the gun. That's, someone didn't really want to care about being responsible, and they would carry the gun loaded and with the safety on, like police officers do. But this person, nope. One magazine, no magazine. And he's carrying it responsibly, and he has a concealed baggy clothes. It's hard to tell. She had to lift her shirt to reveal that there was a gun there. So
I still don't understand. What was the confrontation about to begin with? Why did they even approach this man?
That's why we pissed they didn't relieve the audio.
Yeah.
It's no audio there because he was talking to the black officer at first, and then the white female officer and another cop came up. You saw her grabbing, unclipping a holster. And they're going to say he tried to reach for his gun. He did not. He ran the hell away because he knew he might get killed, and he did. And he lives in Chicago, so I would be strapped too. Because the mother, her 2 children were killed by bullets. And I think it was Friday or last week sometime, she going into her apartment, she was shot in the head and killed.
Here's the thing that I love about these people who are against guns and that we don't need guns and that the police will protect them. All right, so you got Chicago, right? Never mind that they're a city that I can't do it. They're a city that has the strictest gun control laws, but that there's a lot of deaths still from guns ownership. Well, what the fuck are the cops doing where that's not a problem, where it shouldn't be a problem? They can't control the situation. So not only did they enable legislation that makes it very strict to have guns legally, the police who are going against the police who are armed, they're not able to they're not able to make a difference as far as the deaths within Chicago with gunfires. So
a lot of police in Chicago are corrupt.
Yeah,
just like in Baltimore, and they use toy guns to plant it so they can give a reason to shoot and kill somebody.
Yeah. Well, my argument is okay. You've got the perfect place, perfect city, where hey, you could prove that you could clean up gun violence. You already have it with your gun control laws. Now let's see the police crack down on it. We haven't seen the police crack down on it. It's still dangerous more than ever, and the cops are the ones involved.
No, they haven't, but you got to think the CIA put guns in these neighborhoods too.
Yeah.
They absolutely do, Shirley. 100%.
Drugs.
Guns and drugs.
100%.
Yeah.
100%
Why are they
correct.
guarding them poppy fields in Afghanistan? They shipping that shit right over here. That's why I don't understand why a heroin epidemic is a health crisis now. You still over there guarding them poppy fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm wondering about the police. Is it the training that's going on? Is this the New World Order, the police state? Because I remember when I was a kid, everyone knew the local cop. Everyone knew their name.
Did.
The cop knew your name, and it's like, hey, everybody, hey, Bob. It was like the ice cream man.
Yeah. They're not like that no more.
There
And I
there
heard
are.
some cops are being trained by Israelis.
Well, when I was in Somerville, Massachusetts, and here in Columbus, Nebraska, as far as I know, the police that I've met, they were nice. They talk to you. Like, even I'm in Columbus. I'm like the only Asian guy here. They'll talk to me. They'll say hi.
Until they shoot you.
Until they shoot me, yeah, of course. But so
They're
far
like,
they've been good.
Asian dude, fucking minority.
They probably think I'm Mexican. So.
Oh, don't even joke about that. They'd probably throw a parade for Evan just for not being a group they don't like less.
He's probably already up on their notice board that there's an Asian guy in town. So you just, don't shoot him.
He's an Asian guy.
That's sad. That's sad because I have to teach. A lot of black women have to teach their black sons. I have a daughter, but I have a black son. What to do and what not to do. Even if you do the right thing, like Philando Castile, he got shot and fucking killed on video, and the cop got off.
Well, 1, don't wear hoodies. 2, don't eat Skittles. 3, and so on.
Yeah, but Philando didn't even have on a hoodie.
Yeah, I know.
Don't eat watermelon.
Just don't be black, Shirley. That's all you have to tell your son.
Yeah, fucking hell, Shirley.
Just tell him.
That's crazy.
Just tell him
You
be like
shouldn't have
Michael
to
Jackson.
teach her- And I have to teach my daughter too. You're black. And I said, you have to watch out. When she first went off to college in Bloomsburg, she ran into the Klan. They weren't in uniform. They were in pickup trucks and throwing stuff at them, calling them coons and monkeys and things. And they hid between a storefront. And she said, you told me about it, but I never lived it for real. She said, that was scary.
God. I'm so
She
sorry,
said it was
Shirley.
really scary.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're lucky I wasn't there.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with people?
I would have fucked their shit up good and proper.
Well, the government keeping us divided by race. Because they let the white folks know, the lower class, that the blacks are getting more than you. And that's a lie. The immigrants are getting more than us. I know some immigrants can go to a hospital to emergency and don't have to pay a dime. But when we go, where's your insurance card? And they send you a big bill.
Sounds about right, but not in Australia. Not in Australia.
It's just crazy.
Australia will fuck your shit up, mate.
We live in the Twilight Zone, man. This is Rod Serling's dream. This is like every day. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Yes, it's crazy.
And that's a thing that people don't keep asking, Nash, and you say it a lot. So how did we get here? How did we get to this point?
Oh yeah, Nash, that thing that we agreed about before. The whole.
The thing that you agreed that we agreed on.
Oh no, we were disagreeing on the whole.
Elected.
Hold on. Go ahead, Persists.
Oh, just say. Okay, so where I was getting my information from, I bothered to look up my source again. It's been actually about a couple of years since I read it. So the root of what we're getting at here is that the reason why I'm saying that the owl is not an accurate symbol to use when you're trying to represent Moloch is because of the fact that, okay, first of all, Moloch and Bahamut, they always get associated with each other by Christians, even though they're very different symbols. And Bahamut, which is where all this miscommunication comes from, if you use a cipher in the Hebrew alphabet to spell it using the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet as the last, and then the second as the second last, etc., it will almost kind of phonetically say Sophia. And it's based off of this really tenuous connection that was made by Aleister Crowley that's trying to compare a system of base 9 and base 10 math that are not compatible with each other. And it's just it's one of these typical, we're going to universalize these things so we can try to claim ownership over them, and it doesn't add up. The evidence and the mathematics just don't add up for the equivalency between Bahamut and Moloch, nor Bahamut and Sophia. But
all of that Bohemian Grove stuff hinges on something. But the problem is that the largest number in like Hebrew numerals is 9, but the system that Sophia comes from uses the largest numeral being 10. And the math doesn't, like the numerology literally is fudged, it doesn't add up. And it's just one time, one guy, Aleister Crowley, who happened to be very popular, asserted that no, it adds up, shut up. And since then, people have been associating these things that have nothing to do with each other.
Do you think he did that for just disinfo purposes?
I think so, yeah. Because one of the big things not Aleister Crowley, it was Albert Pike, I think, who said, basically, you just have to go out there, just go out there and spread whatever. It really doesn't matter. The whole point is that it will cause division regardless.
Well, that was some segue, and all I have to say is, okay.
Nash, why do you always have to be an asshole? Why do you have to be like me? Can't you
That's
just...
how he rolls in life, mate.
Yeah. With the wild, wild west of...
Come on. That wasn't so bad. You can take that. That wasn't the worst.
Yeah.
Why am I an asshole? Why am I a troll? Why am I Ryan calls me an idiot. You guys are free to call names. I don't call you guys names.
You called me an asshole before.
No, I called... Someone else was calling you an asshole, and I was repeating them.
Okay.
You called me a fucking cabbage. What are you talking about?
I called you an overgrown cabbage, but I called you a beautiful overgrown cabbage.
No such thing as a beautiful cabbage.
Anyways. Has anyone been getting problems watching videos or getting notification on YouTube?
Yeah. I think there's an algorithm that'll make it so if you have a certain keyword within your title, maybe even your description box, that they'll purposefully not do the email notification.
Well, Jamal did one earlier. It was called Eat Drive, and he was driving in his car doing a live video, but a lot of people were in there and they were chatting. They knew what he was saying, but all I got was a black screen that's just buffering and buffering and buffering. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I logged in for that too. It just buffered for me as well. The chat was still going. A couple people were talking like they could hear it, but I could.
Yeah, it was a lot of people talking. I'm like, am I missing something? Not going crazy?
Yes, you are, Shirley.
No, I'm not. Hell to the no.
Hey, you're in my channel chatting about conspiracies. I think you're going crazy.
And Ebon, we have a bet. We have a bet, baby. You know that, right?
A what?
You know, we have a bet, man. You think Hillary's going to win 2020, and we made a bet, and
yeah.
I'm not sure what the price should be, but I'm thinking,
the price. It doesn't matter what the bet is and who wins. We all lose if Hillary wins.
I think if
well, that's
she
the truth,
wins,
but it'd still be fun to see you in a pink pussy hat.
They're gonna get get the really rigging it again and cheating, and that's why they going after Julian Assange. She's gonna be taken from that embassy in the next few days or in a month.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got it.
The government lasts that long.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So Nash, if Hillary Clinton wins in 2020, you got to wear a pussy hat in a live chat.
I won't wear one of them fucking things.
And if she,
I know. But we're making a bet, and if I lose, yeah, man, wow, I'll put on a big frown face with a pussy hat on,
and
I couldn't wear that.
I know. That's probably the worst bet you can lose.
And you have to celebrate Hillary Clinton's win.
Yeah, I'll drink champagne with Wolf Blitzer.
Oh man,
it sucks to be the loser out of that bet.
So Perseus, so your idea is to accelerate the bad parts, accelerate this what's going on, is Hillary winning in 2020 an acceleration, or is Donald Trump staying in power an acceleration, or does it not even matter?
He's getting 8 years.
Yeah, at this point, I genuinely think that there may be a shot to accelerate past the worst parts of Donald Trump's power, but really what will make the cycle go the best is if Donald Trump is killed, and in about 15 years there'll be a civil war, and then somebody of the same vein as him politically ends up seizing definitive power, but not as a president, as an emperor.
As a what?
Emperor.
Oh, as an emperor. An emperor?
Yeah. Yeah, I think if Trump dies within 15 years, there'll be an emperor in America, whether it's on the far right or far left. Sure.
Oh, hell no. No emperors in America.
If Sanders run in 2020, I will not vote for him because he's doing this Russia shit. He was on the Senate floor arguing for that. Nah.
But surely, if you vote for him, you would be helping Hillary Clinton lose.
Yeah, I would, but I'm still on the fence for that. But I am not agreeing with that Russia shit. He know that the election was stolen away from him. She didn't even have the nomination at the convention.
Yeah.
They stole it from him.
Yeah. Didn't he just opt out? He just said, yeah, I'm just dropping my...
He always said he would support her if she got the nomination. But I'm pissed because they stole it from you.
Yeah. And he said he would fight all the way to the convention, and he didn't. He gave up.
Yeah. I wanted him to contest it.
Yeah. And then he went to go talk with...
sisters.
Huh? And then he went to go talk with Barack Obama, and then he was like, yay, Hillary.
No, he was a changed man after that. I remember that interview. After he left there, him and Jay looked totally different. And when he went to campaign for Hillary on her trail, he wasn't the same Bertie, but when he campaigned by himself, he was his regular self.
Mm-hmm. And the amount of people who came to his speeches after that, where it's in support of Hillary, they're all small like Hillary's.
They were like Hillary campaign. She couldn't fill up a fucking gymnasium.
Yeah.
They canceled rallies here in Pennsylvania when she was running because nobody was showing up.
Now, that's an interesting point that Perseus says. Assassination of Donald Trump. You know?
Oh, they want to do that anyway. Somebody said that on live TV. I'm like, what the fuck? And Bob Woodward is pissed with the mainstream media. He said he hasn't been on TV at all. He been up there
drinking,
talking. Huh?
You been drinking? You got the hiccups?
Who, Bob Woodward?
No, you.
No, I haven't.
You got the hiccups.
But Bob Woodward, he hasn't been on TV. He wrote books for every president. He interviewed them. And he said the media has gone crazy. They haven't had him on TV at all. He hasn't been on cable news, and they normally have him for every president.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a contact drunk, Ryan. It's my fault, you know. I'm Jewish, in case you didn't know. So everything is my fault.
We've got a Zionist on our show. His name is Nash.
Woohoo! Yeah, I'm not a Zionist. I rebuke Zionism, but yeah, I guess I'm Jewish, so yeah, I just lump me into the party.
Oh boy.
Yeah, come on. I know the Jewish secret handshake. I know the secret passwords. I have access to all information, and I'm above the law.
Right up Evan's alley.
Oh, in the Fed. Oh, he's gonna call you Zion Ash.
Zion Ash.
That's awesome.
I would be insulted to be called that. Because of that fucking Netanyahu. I can't tell. Do you know yesterday they claimed Hamas a sniper shot and killed an IDF soldier. So you know what's happening right now.
It's game on.
Yeah.
It sounds like a very sadistic laugh. From
No,
Nah.
yeah.
Zionash.
Zionash.
That's so
Zionash.
good.
Yeah, come on.
Zionash.
I'm Nostradamus. I'm Zionash. Yeah.
Zionash.
Let the expletives fly.
Oh. We're laughing because it's all horrible. That's horrible.
It's horrible. But Zionism is a conspiracy. We know where Zionism comes from, and you don't have to be Jewish to be a Zionist. And
Yeah.
Joe Biden is on YouTube right now saying that he's a Zionist. There's footage of Joe Biden. He's a Catholic.
And we got
He's
people
like,
who
I'm
are
a
in
Zionist.
Israel that are against Zionism. A Jewish person in Israel against Zionism.
Yeah, a lot of
Thank
Orthodox
you.
Jewish people.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. I saw an interview with a young millennial, and he said, yeah, I grew up in a Zionist house, and then I woke up and checked on the Palestinian history. I'm with the Jews. I'm not with the Zionists no more.
Pull that up, Ebon. There's footage. Joe Biden right on YouTube saying he's a Zionist.
Oh
It's not a
yeah,
secret.
I've seen it. I can show people.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right.
He's creepy. He likes children, too.
Oh, the way he touches people in those photos, fuck.
All right, are you ready?
Like that Uncle Joe Biden. Oh, fuck, yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Oh.
Is not the cause of Iraq. Pollard should be given leniency. I am a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist.
Here you go. He says, I'm a Zionist. You don't have to be a zoo to be a Zionist.
A zoo? You don't have to be a zoo.
You don't have to be a zoo.
You don't have to be a zoo.
You have to be an aquarium at the least, but you don't have to be a zoo.
That's it. You don't have to be. That's exactly right.
Was that actually called Shalom TV?
Yeah, I think so. Shalom TV. Yeah, you're right.
There's this, in Israel, I can't remember the name, the morning show. I'm trying to remember. I was on Bold Like Leopards channel, and he was showing a clip from it. They were debating about something that just happened. And this morning show looked psychotic. Like, people were just screaming at each other the whole time. I don't know if it's normally like that, but the clips he was showing were so bad. But it was like The View, but it was like in Israel.
It is a shame I have to go to Republican publications to get the truth. Because they do it. Did anyone see the video of Tucker Carlson talking about this Russia stuff?
Yeah.
He did a good damn job.
Certain aspects of the truth, though, they do push their own narratives too, surely.
Yeah.
They do lie too.
But you can't tuck the tuck, so what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
But I'm surprised he did it, and I'm shocked they allowed him to do it. It was really, really good.
Oh yeah, Tucker Carlson, he's gotten away with a lot of stuff I honestly didn't get away with.
Yeah. And Shepard Smith got away with a lot of stuff too. He's with the left. And he wasn't like that before.
What? He's really with the left?
Yes. Because he go against his own network.
This is really weird.
And when the Hurricane Katrina came through Louisiana, he got on one of the reporters because they would say, they were laughing. They walking across the bridge. He said, this is not funny. And that's what shocked me. He went with the left now.
That's weird. I have to look into that.
Following in Maggie Kelly's footsteps.
And Tucker Carlson is opposite. I know he did an interview with Adam Schiff, and he grilled Adam Schiff. I can't stand that dude. He looks creepy with them eyes.
Oh, you guys are who Gavin McInnes is? Well, he was recording Tucker Carlson this one time. Tucker Carlson didn't know he was being recorded. And Gavin got him to admit that he keeps about a pack of those nicotine stuff per day. And it costs like $58 per day.
I can't really hear Perseus.
Yeah, he's having issues with his phone.
Oh, I just said that Tucker
there
Carlson
you go.
was recorded by Gavin McInnes, and he got Tucker Carlson to admit that he spends about $60 a day on nicotine gum.
Fake news?
Oh no, basically Gavin McInnes was having him on for an interview, but he didn't tell them they were live when they started recording. So he was just talking about how annoying it was to buy a new pack of this crap every day.
Gavin McInnes is a really smart guy. I'm not sure I agree with him. You know, I saw him, you know, doing magic tricks, pulling cards out of his ass, you know, and all that crap. I know he's a weird guy, and I know he worked at Fox News, which ties him to Rupert Murdoch, which I don't trust. But he was on Tommy Sotomayor the other night, and he was funny as hell.
You know, one of the things I wanted to allude to with the whole topic of 10 things why you're not woke and, you know, the whole thing is people like to fall for magic tricks, right? They like to be lied to. They don't say, hey, could you tell me the truth again? He showed me that magic trick where you show me, you know, where you show me how you did it exactly, and it takes the mysticism away. People like being lied to. They like being tricked. Maybe that's just a human condition. There's a few that want to find out how it was done, figure out the answer when the magician doesn't show them their trick. But for the majority, they just want that show. They just want the magic show. They want to be tricked. They want to be lied to, and they go, do it again, do it again. Maybe that's the problem.
Well, I think people just love stories. It doesn't matter if the story's true.
That too. My daughter, my daughter, I told her. Oh, okay, I was just saying, my daughter, she loves. I just make up stories to her for her bedtime stories, and she loves them. She doesn't even want me to read a book to her. She just wants me to tell the story, because every night it's just a new update, a new version to the story. She doesn't know what's gonna happen next. Sometimes she goes, I kind of have a feeling what she likes. You know, I tell a different story, and you can like I'll put some tension in there, and you see the look on her face. She's like, oh no. Like one of her characters is gonna like get hurt or die or something like that. But you know, I make sure she's happy at the end, and she's always looking for the next night where she gets to hear a new addition to the story. So yeah, Perseus, it's true. Doesn't matter if it's. Go ahead, Shirley. Sorry.
That's good. That's really good. There's a lot of parents don't make up stories or read to their kids at night.
Yeah, my wife reads.
A lot of them don't have the time because they're freaking working.
Yeah, my wife reads. She can't. I always tell her just make up a story for her, and she goes, "I'm not good at that." But she reads. She reads the stories from the books, and I just make up the stories.
You make up Hillary stories,
I remember my grandma reading to me Dr. Seuss. She would read Dr. Seuss books and tell me stories and put me to sleep, man. Shit would bore me right out.
Here's the latest geology book, Zion Nash.
I wish we could go back to the Mr. Roger days. Oh my goodness. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
But was it ever really like
No,
that? Or is that just the image that they wanted to project?
Shirley, you got it wrong. It's a beautiful day in a neighborhood. It's not the neighborhood.
Oh.
You just got Mandela affected.
Won't you be my neighbor? Because a lot of people are not neighborly today, especially on my block.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Stevie even talking about that. They're like, you know, there were like social things that people used to actually go out and do and meet their neighbors, you know.
Man, they don't do that no more. No more at all. I just know who they are. I watch people. My husband say I'm nosy because I always go look out my windows, and I have cameras now, so I catch everything.
Well, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. The Mandela effect is everyone thinks it's a beautiful day, or most people think it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, except that it's actually a beautiful day in this neighborhood. That
no,
doesn't
that's the
sound
Mandela
right.
effect.
Yeah, it's a Mandela effect. Surely,
come on, Zionash. Cut out the puns, Zionash.
But I miss him. I really do. I remember he spoke in Congress.
You're not very punny, do you, Nash? Zionash. You know you're not punny. Get
well,
it?
you know you're not from Canada.
Punny? Get it? Punny? Not funny, but punny, as in pun. No, don't worry about it. I'll quit being funny now.
You mean punny?
I'm trying.
You mean punny? You'll quit being punny.
Rock, I love that. They need that stuff back on TV for children.
And the shot heard around the world was the start of the revolution. Hell yeah, I'm just a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
I learned a lot from that commercial. Those little videos they showed on TV. They won't show it no more.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon was the most politically incorrect TV show for children back in the day?
Go Gophers.
Looney Tunes?
What you say, Nash?
I didn't say anything. Ryan
Perseus.
asked the question.
Perseus said something.
Go Racer?
But somebody said something.
Gophers.
Perseus, say it again.
Go Gophers.
Oh, Go Gophers.
Underdog Hour.
I never even watched
I don't remember that show.
Ours was
like
Fat
the
Cat.
60s. It was way before my age.
We
I
had
remember
Fat Cat.
Go Speed Racer and Banana Split, the Monkeys, Brady Bunch.
Oh, I love the Monkeys, and I remember when I was a little boy, I got upset when they took the banana splits off. I was like, and that was like the dumbest show on television.
It was the dumbest, but it was fun. It wasn't like what TV is today for kids. They really don't have nothing on TV today for kids. You have to buy cable to watch it. And that's sad, because a lot of people can't afford it.
Yeah, and all the cartoons nowadays have been kind of weaponized anyway, so it's, maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Come on, Fat Cat.
What about the showing?
No, this is Ryan, I think.
Oh.
Come and sit down.
Yeah, it's Ryan.
First
Yes,
letter
me.
says, Dear Fat Cat and friends, I live in Quambatook and I'm called Christine. Isn't that a funny name? I wonder where it is. I have a sister called Catherine and a dog called Susie, and I've got 12 chooks. Well, I wonder if perhaps you live on a farm, Christine.
How freaky is
Christine has drawn a lovely drawing of you, Fat Cat.
Somewhat.
And she's even cut out a paper star, perhaps from some wrapping paper, and put it next to you. And it's drawn on blue paper. That makes it look really pretty, doesn't it? Thanks, Christine. This time it's a little card that comes to you. It says, Dear Fat Cat and friends, my name is Laura Cole, and I'm 4 years old.
Here's Mr. Squiggle, with lots of fun for everyone. Here's Mr. Squiggle, sing a happy tune. You can see we're as happy as can be.
These are no longer on TV, by the way.
A life on the ocean wave, a life on the rolling deep.
Oh, hi. Hey, did you hear the news? We had the winning ticket in a mystery raffle.
Hooray!
And this is the prize, a cruise for us all.
So it's a life on the ocean wave, a life on the rolling.
Almost all of us. Poor Gus.
Yoo-hoo! Rebecca!
Hey, what's for lunch?
Anyway, Mr. Squiggle, what he used to do is, see, he was some sort of alien dude.
You are such a grump.
Used
Now, where shall I start, Rebecca?
I think there.
Ah.
This squiggle, Mr. Squiggle, comes from Tom Pontre,
Ryan, I'm giving you my bow tie.
Australia.
The puppeteer would have to draw
Oh, it really,
using
really tricky.
just a string.
Going great guns, Mr. Squiggle.
Really?
But how does he get enough pressure on the string?
It would just be one of those
Well, I was relying on you to tell me
really
what it is.
soft.
Of course they can. Everyone
You know,
can see.
doesn't matter how hard you push it, you're going to get the same result. It would
It's
just
upside
crumble.
down as everything is these days.
Is it a frog?
It's a frog. Playing croquet.
So he would draw things upside down, and then they'd turn them upside down.
Another one, Rebecca?
All right.
So
Interesting.
yeah, that's cool. That's my favorite TV show.
Now, did everyone grow up and have a fetish for that woman?
Nah, not really. There was Play School.
Search for Go Go Gophers. It's the most politically incorrect thing you've ever heard of, probably.
Go.
Does anyone remember Lady Lamb Chop?
Yes, Lamb Chops, play
It's
along.
the first song that never ends.
And it goes on and on, my
Goes
friend.
on, my friend. Yeah.
Some people
She
started
passed
singing,
away,
don't
they
know
took it
what it
off.
was. And they'll keep singing just because it's a song
I love that
never
stuff.
ends.
They don't have stuff like that on no more for kids. And it's a shame.
Hey, they have like Ariana Grande, God is a Woman music videos for kids to watch.
Oh boy.
God is a what?
God is
Yeah,
a Woman.
And some nice Katy Perry programming videos. Too.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's a cartoon for you. Look at the title of the cartoon. It looks awesome.
Do you remember Free to Be, You and Me?
Kaku Combat. Kaku.
Ah, look there, Sergeant. Asleep. Asleep on guard duty.
It's like I told you, Colonel. I don't think you can make soldiers out of those Gopher Indians.
Nonsense. I'll put some life into those Indians. I'll give them a rigorous course in Army man-to-man combat. Attention. Forward. March. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. With this dummy, I shall demonstrate the art of self-protection. Imagine that this feather is a knife. The dummy is approaching me with knife in hand. Now, in slow motion and by the numbers, I will show you the arm block a soldier uses to protect himself. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this time at full speed. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. What did he say?
Him say no believe protection work on real person.
Aha! Bully! I shall demonstrate on ruffled feather. Here, hold this as if you were about to attack me with a knife. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Stop. No, stop. Here, stop it.
Wow.
This goes back to like the Underdog, Tennessee Tuxedo, Bullwinkle, and Rocky.
Ren and Stimpy.
Play just Captain
Shazam
Minute
and
Mouse.
Ultraman.
Here, this is kind of what I miss from the old cartoons. One of the things I liked about Foghorn Leghorn was he'd always say, I said You know, those little mannerisms. I don't know why I like it. And he'd always...
You love his speech impediment.
Yeah.
I'm a chicken hawk.
I love Popeye and what was that? Wimpy. I'll gladly pay you back on Tuesday.
I like Ninja Turtles.
Well, that was my son era.
And I love Pinky and the Brain.
Pinky and the Brain. Where were you, dude? Smart.
I grew up. It was Bugs Bunny and that whole crew. You know, I mean, Wile E. Coyote and Daffy Duck.
Yeah.
I'm hunting Wabbit.
Roadrunner was the shit.
I'm hunting Wabbit. Be very, very quiet.
My young generation and our Pokemons and all that crap.
We can't hear you, Persis.
Oh, I was just saying that when I was growing up, it was all like Pokemon and that stuff, like Pokemon card captors, that stuff.
That was my son era too. He still have his cards.
Shirley, did you ever see the movie UHF without Weird Al Yankovic?
No, I never went and spent money for Weird Al Yankovic.
It's an old movie from the 80s. It's a real old movie. And yeah, so there's one skit where he's talking about children's cartoons and he's talking about the Roadrunner. And he's like, it's this sadistic Roadrunner who traps a coyote into just hunting him every day.
He always said TNT.
It's a funny bit.
Hey.
You know what I used to love? Bugs Bunny, where he had the alien. I guess he was an alien guy in the armor, and he was really black, and all you saw was his eyes when he opened up the lid.
Marvin the Martian.
That was hilarious. I'm like, all you see is his eyes.
Oh yeah, the Duck Dodgers cartoon was actually probably my favorite one of the Warner Brothers.
Q-36 uranium space modulator.
What do you guys think about the programming of, like, I always like doing this, is like looking up occult symbolism with whatever. They have like Looney Tunes, they have it on different things. They look on this one, 10 subliminal messages in Disney movies. You got a cartoon picture, I think this movie's Monsters. You got one where it's bending over the mom. Doggy style, look at that. I mean, I don't catch that stuff, and then of course, you know, all this other stuff, but Donald Duck. It's interesting. Like, it's so obvious now that I look at it now, but as a kid, didn't really notice it. And I always wonder, we're talking about signs and symbolism, Perseus, how like they don't have any, they have power subversively, even if you I mean, even if you don't believe in it, but of course they don't have any power if you don't know what you're watching. But I always wonder, all those cartoons sit in our minds, like we remember some of it, but we don't know any of the symbolism yet. But eventually, when all the symbolism is revealed, does that like permeate through the rest of your mind now that it's made that connection?
I mean, it could be the case. Part of it, though, is I think that it has more to do with the fact that the elite want to advertise what they're doing according to the way that they think. It's if we basically say what we're doing openly and make it obvious to anyone who knows what they're looking for, and we still get away with it, that only proves we deserve the power. So it more has to do with justifying their own position.
Another what other people say is that they're also not liable. Look, they said it in public. They said it straight out, or just showed it, and no one said or did anything about it. So, you know, why should they be held accountable, type of thing?
Well, yeah, it's like basically the same idea. The idea is that, oh, well, nobody stopped us. They either don't care or they're too stupid to know. So.
Yeah. But hey, that's conspiracy theory. Sorry, Ryan. I gotta make up a name very similar to Zion Nash for you, Ryan. It needs like a conspiracy theory ring to it. Ryan. I don't know. And the Fed, if you're still there, you gotta make up a name for Ryan. I mean, we can say Ryan Nash.
No, you can't.
That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I know. It's horrible.
Oh,
nice
oh wow,
try.
that was below the belt, Evan. Yeah, even I felt bad for you on that one, Ryan.
Let's see. Yeah. All right. So you guys are still not woke. You guys keep falling for it. That's why you're in my channel. I got you with my clickbait, and that's why you guys are still sleeping. It's okay.
I didn't even check the title before I logged in, dude.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I was just like, oh, Evan's live. I'm just gonna click my way on here now.
Oh, so my topics don't even matter.
I'm here to make sure you guys. I'm here to make sure you guys are still asleep. You know, you guys, you're not allowed to wake up. You know, it's not gonna happen to my Zion Nash watch.
Agent Zion Nash.
I am awake.
Yeah.
Truly.
And that, I think that's the way I phrase woke. I think it's when you just stop falling for the same thing over and over again.
No, I don't fall for shit. I'm a great analyst.
Yeah.
I don't fall for everything at all.
And that, I guess if there's going to be maybe there's a Bond dictionary. I'll create my own dictionary of terms. Woke. It starts with that one word, and that's all I got in my dictionary is woke.
You saying we're not woke because we don't believe Hillary Clinton will win in
No.
2020?
I'm saying, all I'm saying is there's only you don't have to be woke for that. I'm just saying woke is you just can't fall for the same thing, same trap. You know, just the other version of the thing that you're going away from, and you're thinking that you're getting away from the system. You know.
Yeah, I'm woke. I'm away from the system. And I can't believe people believing in this intel. Because John Kariuki said that when Obama got in office, he turned all those agencies political. Because he said when he worked there, he didn't know what affiliation the people he worked with were. If they were Republican or Democrat, they just did their job.
Yeah.
But Obama changed that. And what pisses me off, people want to give Obama a pass.
Yeah.
So my husband,
a lot of them, Shirley,
huh?
I was just going to say, a lot of them aren't even really, you know, a lot of them aren't political. They definitely take sides, but most of them are just greedy people. They don't have empathy or compassion or emotions that we expect from human beings. They're void of that. They're just greedy people.
No, I was just saying what John Kariuki said, because he did time under the Obama administration for being a whistleblower about Gina Haspel torturing Iraqis. And he said when Obama got in office, that's when it became political. When you came there, you didn't know anyone you worked with political affiliation. And it changed. He said that whole place has to be cleaned out. Has to be cleaned out.
Yeah, but this goes back before Obama. I mean, we, pretty aware. Obama came out of nowhere. He fooled the world. He fooled you.
Changey.
Hey, fool me once. You can't fool me again. Fool me twice. George
That's
W.
Won't
right,
get fooled
Evan.
again. Won't get fooled again.
That's right, Evan.
George Bush, right?
Yeah. Love that video. Every time I watch that, I keep cracking up.
I know. Didn't Scotty say it on Star Trek? The original Star Trek, Scotty said it, and it was clear as day. And now we got George Bush up there, can't speak a goddamn word.
Wait, what did Scotty say that George Bush said?
Scotty said fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, or so, whatever, or shame on me, whatever. I don't even.
Oh yeah. Bush said you can't fool me twice.
Yeah, here.
Or he gave some other answer that wasn't the normal one, right?
Yeah, here it is.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
You fool me, can't get fooled again.
Every
Was
time I
that
see
when
that.
the shoe was thrown at him?
What was that?
Was that when the shoe was thrown at him? I never forget that. I saved that damn video.
Oh no, I didn't.
No, that was another time, Shirley. That was a different video.
Oh, okay. Hey, George H.W. Bush's heart doctor killed in drive-by shooting in Houston.
Here, I'll show you the shoe throwing video. Let's go back in memory lane.
That video was a classic.
Hey, he's got good reflexes though. And he was kind of like laughing. Who throws a shoe,
Look,
honestly?
That shit.
Because it's
that guy did prison time.
because it's insulting in Arab in
Look how
Muslim.
many people came out of the back door. The door opened up and like an army came out.
It's
That
like
was
George W.
funny.
Bush is used to being shoes thrown at him. Look how easy he dodges it.
Because it's an insult. It's an insult to be hit with a shoe. That's why. Did you not see the video like when they pull down monuments of Saddam Hussein and all that type of stuff? They hit him with the shoe.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's an insult.
Yeah. All right. Here's another one one of my favorite George Bush stuff. That's how they get us with with Bush is like we just laugh at him.
Thank you all very much.
Oh, what does the world come to?
It didn't work.
Fucking idiot.
He served 8 years, guys.
Honestly, that seems like something I would do.
How about the one where Al Gore was on crutches and he fell?
I don't remember that.
You know, he was trying to get in the vehicle and he fell. Almost. That was funny.
Hey, Evan, you know how like the Aztec priests would convince the people if they didn't sacrifice during the eclipse that the sun wouldn't come out from behind the moon and all that crap?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, Al Gore is the modern manifestation of the same phenomenon. He's tricking people based on his knowledge of natural cycles into thinking that a predictable increase in temperature is people's fault and that they have to sacrifice to fix the problem. It's very, like, culty, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it.
Like, I don't know, this whole electric universe thing, as far as I'm concerned, there's a reason why it's being suppressed. It fills in so many of the gaps in so many celestial mechanisms. They just don't want, the astrophysicists just don't want to deal with the fact that electromagnetic force plays a larger role. And yeah, shit, it just, the solar cycle and all those systems, if you research them, it becomes very evident they drive all the weather on Earth. And there's no way we can control it. It's the reason being is that, okay, so the ionosphere, all the activity in the ionosphere is ultimately controlled by the sun. And space dust falling through the ionosphere forms the cloud nucleus of forming clouds. The charge they pick up will determine the type of cloud they form. The types of clouds that form determine how much light is reflected away from the Earth and how much is absorbed. So if sun activity drives the ionosphere and ionosphere drives cloud formation, and cloud formation drives weather, really it has way more to do with sun activity than anything else. But if it's controlled by the sun, there's nothing humans can do about it, so they can't sell us on the idea that, we have to change what we're doing. And here's the thing, even if the environment's changing and we can't control it, that doesn't mean that we don't have to change. Don't get me wrong. If the environment's changing for whatever reason, we have to adapt to it. But what really drives me nuts about it is this whole human-centric original sin idea that the very fact that you're alive is doing this to the Earth. It's that kind of built-in guilt system that even if they're technically correct is always going to make people resent and hate them.
You just made me think of something very, I don't know. This is going to sound a little weird. I mean, the human species, we adapt to the situation. That's how we survive, right? That's the theory of evolution, that we were able to manipulate the environment around us, and that we used our mind to survive. Now, what if because of that prevents us from evolving to a certain point? Because rather than changing to an environment that constantly changes, like the environment constantly changes throughout time, that we are always shielding ourselves from our own evolutionary process because we're adapting the environment, and so we always stay the same.
Oh yeah, that's the domestication of people, self-domestication due to civilization. That's a real problem. It destroys societies. I mean, look at the pre-Islamic history of the Middle East. It's a repeating cycle of people build up a civilization, people from the hills come, invade the civilization, take everything from it that they didn't have to figure out themselves, build upon it. They eventually become domesticated into civilized. People from the hills come down, take over the cities, get all the stuff that they didn't figure out themselves, build upon it, repeat the cycle. They get weak and decadent eventually. It keeps going and going. I mean, that's the cycle of civilization. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Well, we just went deep from laughing at George W. That's an interesting turn of events. This is where you come in, Shirley, and you tell us what's on the news. Shirley must be taking a break. Nash, one of your one of your Zionashisms.
Yeah, I'm here, man. What do you want? What do you want to know, Goyam?
It's Sir Goyam to you. This is what we've devolved to. Name calling.
Oh, come on. You know I love you, brother. Yeah,
all right, so you guys don't do your own shows, and I think you guys should. Ryan does, but he's too lazy. He'd rather work on his own projects that'll help people. I don't know what's wrong.
I actually might be able to start doing just a normal politics show again because, what is it called? Our current premier, he wants to protect people's right to political expression. He takes it seriously, so hopefully. If I can find that there are mechanisms in place to keep me from getting screwed, I might start having my own politics. But I mean, it'll be based on Canada politics, so most people probably won't care.
It's still good. I think what we need are more people from outside the just different countries just enlightening us on their governmental process. Like we learned quite a bit from Australia because of Ryan. Like if he shared with us some of the stuff that goes on in Canada, because we see a lot of similarities, similar corruption. I mean, they're all slightly different.
Oh yeah, Canada. I mean, shit. Here in Ontario, we just lowered the price of gasoline by cents a liter. You know how we lowered it? The premier threatened the lives of the people who work at the companies.
I got something for you.
All right.
It's 6 minutes. Do you want to watch it?
No.
All right. It's about left and right. It's a right-wing fuckwit complaining about the left and the police. You want to watch it?
Sure.
Hang on. Where are we?
I say go for it, Perseus, because heck, I'd like to know more about Canada. I mean, the only one that I really know from Canada is Jordan Peterson. And
I'm tonight calling out Victoria's police and their masters in the Labor government. Why are you cooperating with the violent fascists of the left to stop Conservatives or people of the right from holding meetings? I want to give you the latest example of police and these fascists, in effect, cooperating to shut down debate. In this case, a public talk in Melbourne by two Canadian internet stars, said to be of the alt-right, Lauren Southern and Stéphane Molyneux. Check out this bill for nearly $68,000 that police sent to organisers of Southern and Molyneux's tour of Australia. That is $68,000 that police demand to protect the two Canadians tomorrow night when the violent left try to stop their meeting. In fact, the police first suggested they be paid $150,000. This is the most generous discount. And this is insane. I mean, why didn't police send this bill to the perpetrators of the violence instead? To the bullies and the thugs, instead of to their victims? Now, I said that here's Victoria Police, in effect, cooperating with Melbourne's violent fascist left. And obviously, I don't mean they're deliberately cooperating, ringing each other, colluding. What I do mean is that between them, the police and the fascist left, they make it too frightening or too expensive for Conservatives or the right to hold meetings in Melbourne. Meetings that they can hold just about anywhere else in the country without a problem. And you know, the Victorian government, it must approve of this harassment because it does nothing about it. I want to give you some background. So many Conservative events in Melbourne these days get attacked by violent mobs of the left. There was the mob that invaded a dinner of the Institute of Public Affairs with Rupert Murdoch that I was emceeing. There was the mob that attacked people trying to hear visiting Dutch political leader Geert Wilders, and the one that tried to stop a dinner with Australian Conservatives boss Corey Bernardi. One Nation leader Pauline Hanson, she had to cancel a public event with Conservative Jews in Melbourne when police couldn't guarantee her safety. And I know this very well because I've been through this myself in the latest book tour. I could safely hold launches, very popular ones in Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide, but I had to cancel the one in Melbourne. Left-wing fascist groups have spent weeks recruiting activists to come cause trouble. And police warned, look, this could get violent. And then told us they could spare us just a handful of officers to protect us, and we should go by our own security. And of course, when I launched someone else's book in Melbourne, I was attacked in the street by the fascist left and had to fight back. Police later said they couldn't find my two attackers and had to accept the word of the third guy, the cameraman, that he wasn't involved. Strange days. Okay, well, that's the violent left on one side, and now the police playing tag on the other. When libertarian showman Milo Yiannopoulos last year wanted to give several sold-out speeches in Melbourne, he faced two problems. One, venues kept cancelling because the left are now attacking them as well. And two, police hit Milo with a huge bill, $50,000 to uphold his right to speak freely in Melbourne without being bashed by the violent leftists who rallied outside his show and attacked his audience and attacked the police.
Can I just pause it there? So he's the violent left attacking people. So usually, I'll just go back a little bit.
His right to speak freely in Melbourne without being bashed by the violent leftists who rallied outside his show.
So usually the left don't fight themselves. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
attack his audience and attack the police. So that's the cooperation.
So it's only the left who are fighting.
First, these fascists of the left, they attack conservatives and alt-right speakers, and then the police come around demanding a huge bill for protection. It is actually a protection racket, and only conservatives must pay, because who attacks meetings of the left here? When militant leftists gather each year in Melbourne for the annual Marxism conference, they don't need the protection of a single policeman. No one bothers them. You don't see me going out there marching up and down trying to attack them. And I said Victoria's Socialist Labor government is up to their neck in this. Its police minister, Lisa Neville, she's right out there demanding the shakedown, demanding the protection money from people like Milo.
VicPol have some costings per officer, depending on the seniority of the officers, and they're working through that right now. But this will at least be a bill for about $50,000 as a minimum.
$50,000.
Yeah, back to the organisers of this event.
Gentlemen, this is a shakedown in the state of Victoria, a real scandal. Is that where this state now is? It is fascist dictate who may speak in Victoria effectively with the help of the police and the government. So conservatives must pay a fortune to speak or risk violence. What on earth happened to our democracy and our free speech?
People weren't willing to use violence against their enemies, but their enemies were willing to use it against them. Pretty simple.
What was that?
No, I just think it's pretty simple. It's the fact that the conservatives themselves aren't out there being asses during like the Marxist conference is their own fault.
Yeah,
like they could be doing the exact same thing and get away with it, but they're not, because they would rather lose with grace than win, which is my problem with TradCon.
I mean, I don't agree with him being assaulted in the street. I don't agree with that. That's totally unacceptable. But you can't group two people in with a side. They might not like you because you're a dick. They might not have any political affiliation at all. But what you talk about and how he talks about things and makes it as if he's so the right so egregiously hard done by the left in Australia. When you look at it, the right has been in power in Parliament longer than any other sort of form of government. So you know what I mean. This guy doesn't excite people to come out and protest. You know what I mean? This guy doesn't excite people to come out and protest the Marxist conference. Doesn't come out and excite people to go and protest. They just don't. And the only
problem with traditional conservatives, tradcons, is they follow the Christian mindset of as long as I keep my head down and I'm a good boy, everything will work out in the end. It's slave morality, the idea that someone else is going to come and save me. I don't have to do anything for myself.
Yep. Yep. And then to think that it's only the left who have been fighting at that Milo Yiannopoulos thing, it was the right as well. They were in it just as much. I mean, you got to remember, in Australia, blue is conservative, red is leftist. Okay, so you got to remember that we are totally the opposite way around when it comes to color.
That's because the hemisphere. Like when we're in South Africa, my wife goes, take a right. I mean, left.
And ironically, to be a liberal, you're a conservative, which to me doesn't make much sense. But You know what I mean? And then they complain. You know, Milo comes out and he's, you know, says things about pedophilia and stuff like that, and then the right wonder why people get upset and go and protest and think that the alt-right of all people, the alt-right should have a voice when they're downright racist in some respects. Not all of it, not all alt-right is racist, but a lot of it, you know, like white genocide. Breeding out the white race is white genocide. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, really?
It's the UN definition of genocide.
What, breeding out a race? Like people having to...
Any action that would lead to the long-term elimination of a group as a distinct genetic group fits as the definition of genocide by the UN.
Yeah, I personally don't believe that. That's whether or not the UN says it or not. And the UN's a toothless tiger anyway. I mean, who listens to the UN? So
no, I don't take them seriously either.
Yeah, they're a bunch of people that sit around a table going, "You shall not do this." Okay, we're going to bomb over there. Don't bomb them. Bang, 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 bomb. We told you not to bomb them. And they drop more bombs. Don't bomb them. It's just like, what the fucking point? What's the point of the UN when America owns?
Make work jobs for upper class people.
Yeah, when America owns it. So
the thing that kills me is whichever side that you're on, you know, and I guess using the Christians, traditional conservatives is one other thing is they'll complain about how, hey, we don't want a one world government, we don't want a new world order, we don't want Marxism or communism because that's just going to get us towards one world order. Well, all those complaints and the world's getting worse. So you guys, if you guys are fighting the one world order or against it, whatever, it's not that now, and it's horrible.
But
So
I don't get it though either, because Christianity used to call itself the universal church. Clearly they are also globalists. Like they want to expand their influence of their belief system over the entire world so that their way of life is secure. Well, that's the exact same thing the globalists want. They just want a different end result.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you look at, but you look at what the alt-right want. They've called for a separate state, white state within Australia. They've called for a separate white state in America, Britain, you name it. Where the alt-right is, they want an all-white nation within those borders.
But what about this?
Well, it's based on the double standard. I mean, more white European countries are some of the only countries that even allow immigration in the first place. There's only a handful of Asian countries that allow it, a handful of African countries that allow it. Even in South America,
I got a question for you. You live in Canada.
Yeah.
Would you want to go and live in any other country that is below you? Like health standards, school standards, education standards, all standards. So would you want to go and live in Nigeria?
No, but I would consider a country like Chile.
You would go and live in Chile?
Potentially. There are certain South American countries that are up to my standard.
I'd live in Mexico or Haiti. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but you're Mexican anyway.
Yeah, Shirley, I heard Costa Rica was the bomb.
Costa Rica was nice.
Yeah, they got rid
It
of
is
their
a bomb.
military.
It is a bomb.
So one of the things is, say there's a indigenous population that was taken over. Say it's either in Australia or maybe it's like a certain tribe within United States, and they wanted to keep their bloodline. They wanted to keep it indigenous only. Would you support that, or would you say no?
Would I report it?
No. Would you support that?
Would I support it? No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I don't support any type of that type of reproduction exclusion, because it's racist. Just like you, if you turn around and said to your wife, "Look, I'm no longer going to have you as a wife because you're not North Korean,"
Hey, just like Dave Chappelle, what he did when he was the
He's
black.
got an Asian wife.
When he was playing the black Ku Klux Man.
Yeah, that's so funny. That skit. That skit is so funny.
He had to divorce his
Adopt my
wife
because she's a nigger hater. And she's a nigger lover.
Yeah.
You like Dave Chappelle, don't you, Cheryl?
Yeah, I like him, but he's different now.
Yeah, he is.
Hollywood really fucked them up to turn down $50 million and disappear for 12 years.
But
so.
no, he's normal again. Have you watched his latest stuff and his latest interviews, Shirley?
They're ripping him apart for it, though, Evan.
Yeah, but he refused it, and he's kind of having remorse. He still wants his 50, 60 million, but he's his genuine self. He's his own man, Shirley.
Yeah, but they're ripping him apart for the trans joke.
Oh yeah,
there's a few jokes in there that they're really ripping him apart for.
Yeah, of course.
Which I don't think is, even though I'm pro transgender, pro a lot of things. He's making a joke.
Yeah,
you can't laugh. Don't watch. It's that simple.
I have a problem with Dave Chappelle because he's not under my Zionist New World Order.
Okay, Zion Ash.
Whatever, Zion Ash.
All right, so segue.
But, I mean, can I just finish on that?
No.
I mean, you know that you coming into a country is going to create some sort of discourse, some sort of protest, and it's pretty obvious that that's the situation. You shouldn't use the Victoria Police as the battering ram to ensure that you can get to your destinations and stuff like that. If you're so afraid of what you say is going to upset people, don't say it.
No,
but Ryan, I'm certain
disagree.
that if they were some other ideology that you agreed with, you wouldn't say the same thing.
I would say exactly the same thing.
Here's where I disagree, Ryan.
Okay, so if angry male
I'm getting ready to go, guys.
All right, good night, Shirley.
Okay.
Good night.
Night, Cheryl.
Night,
Sorry,
Shirley.
what was that, Perseus? If what?
If it was instead some feminist speakers coming and it was male rights activists trying to violently shut down and price them out of their venues, which is ultimately what it comes down to, pricing people out of venues. Would you support their right to do that?
Absolutely. You go protest. Go protest. The right don't protest. That's the problem. The left protest. The left organize and they get to and they protest these people. The right, they sit at home with their thumbs up their asses and don't do
the right
anything.
organize. They stockpile ammunition and wait for opportunities. That's what it comes down to.
So here's the thing.
What ammunition? No. What type of ammunition are you talking about?
He's talking about weapons, guns.
Never mind.
So this is where I disagree. You should say whatever you want. If someone wants to do something to you because of what you say, especially in the United States where it's free press, well, if they're gonna assault you, hey, if I go out there, wear my NRA hat, and a woman assaults me, if I got really injured, I should sue that person, and that's my right. And of course, I'll probably get something back for it. Now, if this person wanted to do violence on me, and I could either resort to not doing violence back, sue, or defend myself and do violence back, that would be within my right because I'm defending myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a question for you. Why doesn't the LAPD supply officers to famous people who feel that they need protection?
I don't think they should. I don't think the police should be used as security personnel.
Exactly.
Except for people who are in government positions, government security. That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, politician security,
but not like private industries, private corporations, and being the security for them. That shouldn't be the case. If people...
So why shouldn't a alt-right person employ enough security to protect them from?
Well, that's That's if he wanted that, he or she wanted that protection, they should get their own protection. They should get their own
Exactly.
security.
But that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't use the police as your private bodyguard.
Yeah, but the thing is, what that guy was saying, the newscaster, he had to pay a fee, and that fee, I mean, what should have happened is there shouldn't be a fee towards the person, towards Milo, whatever. There shouldn't be a fee at all.
The state should accept that.
No, either the state goes, well, we're not going to have police out there securing the public. If the public get out of hand, you're just going to have to figure it out yourself. Like they were.
No, they were using the police as their private bodyguard. And that's what they've asked Victoria Police to be while they go around.
Oh, they asked?
The state. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, they shouldn't.
To protect them to and from venues and stuff like that.
Oh, no.
All right? That's not the role of Victoria Police. That's the role of an independent.
In Australia, how easy is it for a private security company to get licensed to carry firearms?
It's very hard because, firearms. No.
Because that's probably what it comes down to.
No.
Here in Canada, it's easy for a company to get licensed for firearms. In fact, a person doesn't even need their own gun license if their company that they're working for has the license for them.
I would say I would probably be probably 100% sure in saying there probably wasn't even one person at the Milo Yiannopoulos protest on the left that had a gun. They're just not that easy to come by. And they're so fucking expensive. You know, it costs $36,000 to get a Glock.
What?
On the black market.
Oh.
That just seems absurd to me. But I guess like where would you be importing it from there? It makes sense because you're like, even if you were bringing it down from like Indonesia or like something like that, it would still be expensive, wouldn't it? To get it down to populated.
There was a syndicate that was importing them, but what they were doing is they were importing them in parts, and they were hiding them in amongst other. They were making deals with importers and stuff like that to
stuff, right?
Yeah, black market to hide the pieces in different parts of shipping containers and stuff like that, and they shipped in. I think it was over 10. It was over 10 pistols in like full pistols ready to go. But then you've got one thing is getting a gun. The second thing is getting bullets. Where are you going to buy bullets from? You can't walk into a Kmart or a Target or
Walmart.
Or there's no Walmart in Australia. So you can't just walk in and say, can I have a pack of 100 bullets for a Glock? I mean, they're going to turn around and go, yeah, sure, whatever. Bullets, what? And probably report you for asking about bullets. So the idea that they need firearms is I don't even think police need firearms in Australia. I think tasers and pepper spray is enough.
How are they going to shoot innocent people?
Well, they don't shoot innocent people in Australia. They just beat the shit out of people.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing, Ryan. You should be very convinced that the police don't need them. But Sun Tzu's Art of War says you always must strike when and where your enemy least expects. So gun crimes should be going on in Australia because you don't have a mechanism to prevent them.
No, I disagree with that. I mean, we have gun buybacks all the time, like gun amnesties. I think they're every 2 years where you can hand back guns. Guy handed back a rocket fucking launcher. He found it at a tip.
I can't even imagine what mindset it would take to even think that way.
He goes, I've had this rocket launcher for about 30 years. It's like Vietnam era rocket launcher type thing. And he goes, I've had it for about 30 years. I found it at the local tip. And it's just been following me around everywhere I've moved, and I thought I might as well just hand it in because it's a rocket launcher. And they're like, oh, have you used it? And he goes, where would I get the fucking rockets from?
Hezbollah.
But it's not like you could like. There are people in Australia that would have an AR-15. Okay, there are people, but these are people who bought it before 96. All right, so there's no way unless you bought it off the black market, and buying a rifle like that would cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. I gotta end it soon. Do you want to take over?
Soft.
I can't even imagine that because it's like even here in
Soft.
Canada, gangs have these types of rifles.
Yeah, not here. You know what they have here?
So,
They have
hey guys,
sawn-off shotguns.
I gotta get going soon. Do you want to continue on your channel, Ryan?
Can I just finish off this?
Yeah.
Most people have bolt-action shotguns, and if you're
Pump
a criminal, no bolt action.
Bolt action?
You know the click up, forward, back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, bolt action rifles, and they're mainly for hunting.
Oh, rifles, bolt action rifles.
Yeah,
You said
yeah,
bolt
you can't-
action
you can't-
shotguns.
Shotgun, but they're considered, when they saw them off, they're considered sawn off shotguns in Australia.
Oh, okay.
So they're actually bolt action. There's only two types of guns you can get in Australia for hunting. That's the double barrel shotgun thing, double barrel one.
Mm-hmm.
Bang bang, and the bolt action single, and then that's it. That's all you can get for hunting. They don't allow you machine guns or anything like that, or ARs or M's.
In Canada, we always get made fun of, but they even let us have carbines and stuff like that. Like it.
They had these pump action guns, the guns like the old Western style, where the trigger levers down. Yeah, levers down, pulls back. Even they got banned.
Nash, it looks like you're trying to say something, but we don't hear any audio from you. Is that Nash?
Nash. I'm going.
No, I'm chilling, babies. Okay. I'm just here listening in.
And I'm on my way. Good night. Farewell.
Okay. Good night. Thanks for coming on, Ryan.
And don't love anyone. Good night.
Always love. All right. See ya. Thanks, Perseus. Thanks, Nash.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. See you guys, everyone in chat.